Welcome to the Monolith Filmcast, folks. We're back, episode, what is this, 76? Something like that, right?
Yeah, introduce me.
Well, I haven't even introduced my damn self yet.
Yeah, but
Yeah, well, you know, I'm Isaac.
First words
I'm
on the
Isaac.
podcast.
I'm trying to figure out where we're at. I'm Isaac. This is me, episode 76, I think. I think this is Jake.
Yeehaw!
There he goes. He's back, folks. Now, can you answer me? Is this episode 76?
Oh, I don't know.
We stopped putting the numbers on the episodes, and ever since then, that's fucked me up. I don't know. I think it's episode 76.
Something like that.
It actually might be 75, though.
We'll count.
It is. Actually, no. It's episode 75, and that reminds me, because I'm fucking 3/4 of the way there.
Damn.
It's a lot of episodes, folks.
75 cents.
75 cents. What did you pay for 75 cents?
Almost a buck. What?
What would you buy if you only had 75 cents?
I don't think you can buy shit
you
with
buy
75 cents
75
these days.
cents? Yeah, what
I don't
can
think
that
you
buy
can buy
you?
one piece of gum with 75 cents.
I'd buy one NFT. One Monolith NFT. Which brings me to my next topic.
No.
Just kidding. No NFTs. No, I really don't think there's anything you can buy for 75 cents anymore.
I don't think so.
No wonder.
Can't wipe your ass with 75 cents.
Yeah, if you could find it. There's a coin shortage.
Mm-hmm.
And if I found it, I certainly
Couldn't
might.
plug a hole with that.
No, you couldn't. What a way to get started, folks. We're still rolling from the pre-show that we just did. We're just doing this stupid nonsense bits now.
I guess
It
you
is
call that
episode-
toilet humor.
Whatever, close enough.
Whatever.
It is episode 75. Today we are talking about X, the new Ty West A24 horror film. We both saw it this week. We all have some thoughts on it for sure. But before we get into that, it's time to recap last week's top 5, folks.
Top 5.
Top 5. He's on top, number 5. That's the new song that we're going with for the topic.
He's
for this
on
week.
top, number 5.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's recap last week's episode.
Let's do
Also, before we get to that too, if you didn't notice, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, we promise it's not usually this hectic. I think it's the angle I'm sitting. It's throwing me off a bit. Keep forgetting there's a camera to my right. I got jokers to the left of me. Wait, no, I said that wrong, huh? Clowns
I'm
to
on
the
your
left
left.
of me, jokers to the right.
More
Here I am.
in front of you.
Anyways, before we dive into last week's top 5, if you haven't yet, folks, consider signing up for the Patreon. $5 a month unlocks all of the episodes, pre-shows, plus 2 or however many bonus episodes that we do a month. And yeah, that's it. There is other tiers on there just because Jake put a lot of hard work into doing some other bits, and I felt so horrible. I was like, well, that's so good. Though.
Yeah,
So-
we'll go with the best one.
the $5 one. That's the one, folks. That's what you want to go for. And we unlocked an episode that just came out. Actually, was that today or yesterday when we posted that? I think it was today.
1 day ago.
But by the time you're listening to this, it will have been like 5 days ago. And we talk about all the Oscars nonsense, all of the Will Smith, Chris Rock stuff. So if you want to hear about that, we've got a whole episode dedicated to that originally was for Patreons only, but we unlocked it for you, folks. We knew it was a big moment. We knew people would want to hear about it. So if you haven't, go ahead and go give that a listen. Now, let's dive right into last week's top 5. Last week for the top 5, we talked about the top 5 2000s comedies. All right, here's the thing.
Do you want me to go through
Let me
them?
preface this first.
Do you want to go through it? Do you want me to read them off?
I'll read them off for you, but
Okay.
let me preface this by saying something.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of worms for brains our listeners have got, okay? That's all I gotta say.
Uh-huh.
I even had one person tell me to my face, hey, listen, I couldn't vote for either of you.
Who
It's
said
like-
that?
Chaz.
Son of a
It's like,
bitch.
why? What do you mean? And then he's like, well, in the nuance, I would say that I'd probably vote for you because of Tropic Thunder, but yeah, no. I'm like, well, but why? So I don't know. I guess that doesn't count as a vote for me, though. Let's go through the list. Jade,
A would-be vote is not a vote.
a would-be vote is not a vote, and I'll gladly revoke that for myself.
Yeah.
Jade says, Jake, because I like Superbad more than I like White Chicks, and I've never watched Tropic Thunder all the way through. I like the honesty. I appreciate
That's
that,
the JJ
Jade.
connection right there. That's the Jade connection.
Exactly.
Thanks,
exactly. Thank you, Jade.
So, Just to keep score. That's
one.
That's 1-0.
That's one Jakey boy. Okay.
1-0.
Up next, we got Wet Fur Coat. He says, Napoleon Dynamite, y'all geeking, huh?
Listen, that movie's funny.
It is funny. Not even a vote.
And it's also iconic. Yeah, and there's also no vote.
And then he said, Click came out 2006. Okay.
Yeah, and it's the 6th on my list.
And Click is funny.
Click's funny.
It's more sad than it is funny to me.
That's the first movie I ever cried to. Did I tell you about that?
That's a sad movie, too.
Mm-hmm. You remember the part where he's old as shit
Like,
and he's like,
in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out Wet Fur Coat, but that's not a vote. So
He's called Geeks.
Dave said Isaac by a fairly long shot, which is an
dramatic.
Interesting adjective to use.
I think that's a dramatic adjective to use.
It's
a bit of
fairly, because fairly makes it seem like
fairly is
it's like it's
average?
modestly, yeah, like,
modest.
like
It's
you
nothing
like that.
to-
I'm fairly fond
It's
of
nothing to
it.
shake a stick at, but it's
Yeah.
nothing, you know.
So it's funny to say it's fairly a long shot. It's also funny to say that when 3 of the 5 movies we have are the same.
That's
nonetheless.
exactly why it's dramatic. There must be one movie on your list that I don't have that he's like, well, that is my favorite movie of all time.
He's like,
so.
well, White Chicks is fucking hilarious, first of all. Okay, but I'll take the vote. That's 1-1, baby.
Sure. That's the cruise bloodline
Yeah,
connection.
exactly. Callista said, I vote for Isaac. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
She knows what
No
she's talking
explanation.
about. No explanation. No, well, she did give me an explanation. We went on a walk today, and she said, well, I did give you a pity vote. I was like, well, hey, pity vote's a pity vote. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I was gonna say how many guns you had to hold to your head, but a pity vote is also
Pity vote counts. Brenda said, I vote Jake.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thanks for listening.
That's a real one, Brenda.
Olivier, I don't know, should I be saying names, Instagram handles? I don't know. I guess I don't even need to say anything.
Cruise Control says it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, they like the fan
Olivier.
recognition.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Olivier,
if you don't want
my
me to say
man.
your name, if you don't want me to say your name, Olivier, Jake for sure. Super bad as the tiebreaker for me. Okay, here's where I'm getting pissed off. All right. I even said
That's good judgment, Olivier. You had a good head on your
I
shoulders.
had super bad on my list.
Yeah,
we
that doesn't
already
matter,
had
Isaac.
3 of the same movies. What was I supposed to do?
Oh, so it's my fault.
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But okay, another vote for Jake. This one pisses me off. Mayumi said Jake, because his movies are actually funny. Okay. 3 of the 5 movies are the exact same.
Mine are funny.
She's like, Napoleon Dynamite, but Napoleon Dynamite, now that shit is funny.
Because my reasoning was better.
I guess.
I used my reasoning skills.
Fair enough. So that's
So-
what is that? What does that count now? 3?
Thanks, man. You got a good head on your shoulders.
Oh, no, that's 4 you, right?
I lost count.
4 Jake, 2 Isaac. Katie says, I gotta go Jake on this one. No explanation, no biggie. All right. Patrick says, another tough choice. That's 5, by the way, to Jake. Another tough choice to make. Yeah. Another tough choice to make this week. Gotta go with Jake for including Superbad and Hot Rod, which are just the only 2 movies that I didn't have, which were both in my list, but I just didn't add.
Isaac, they can't see the rest of your list.
And
They
I
can't
have
see
to
it.
respect The Hangover in the number 1 spot. Fair enough, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Number 6, Francisco, Jake for Superbad.
You know, if you put Superbad on your list, we probably would have tied.
Probably would have been at least, yeah. If we had the same movies, we probably would have tied.
It's
You're
not
right.
still 5 for me, right? I think it's 7.
That's 7 now,
It's
yes.
7. Okay.
All right, Christina said Isaac, because White Chicks.
Okay.
Wait, did I
nice.
skip Fran?
No. You said
Okay.
Fran. Thanks, Fran. That's 7-3.
Christina came through for me. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I made a bad fucking bet. Once again, I don't know the listeners. Remember last week you were like, yeah, playing in the audience a little bit, right?
I thought you were.
Playing to an audience of 1, apparently.
I bet Dave also probably voted for you for White Chicks.
Yeah,
This
White
seems
Chicks
like a
is pretty
movie he would
funny.
find funny.
And if Dev had voted for me this week,
Yeah, where's Dev's
I don't
vote?
know what the fuck Dev is. He's probably doing something in his new job.
I'll tell you what, Dev doesn't get my vote.
I haven't finished it yet. Wait, yes, I did. They did. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Shout out Cruise Control. Go listen to Cruise Control.
Yeah.
And then last but certainly not least, Dead Man's Bones. Ethan said, gotta go with the only list mentioning Wet Hot Summer.
Damn.
Isaac, King
Just
Isaac.
the honorable mention. I mean, hey, I said
I
on the
added-
pod. I said on the pod.
It would have been on the list.
It would have been on the list. So,
Well, I'll also tell you, I certainly added the honorable mentions for a reason. I was like, Gold Member weighs the list down for Jake, but Wet Hot boost the list. But
How did
apparently
that
not
work out
enough.
for
yeah,
you?
exactly. So once again, I walk away fucking with diddly squat. Jake's
and you know
2
what?
victories
And
in
you
a
know
row.
what? I was getting a little sick of sitting on this throne.
But now you're getting comfy. Now you're getting bed sores from sitting there for so long.
I'm getting. I'll tell you what. I haven't sat up in years now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm getting your ass this week.
We'll see.
By God, I'm
We'll
gonna
see.
fucking get your ass this week. So,
That sounds familiar.
congratulations once again.
Thank you,
What is
sir.
the total score now? 2-1.
I think so.
All right, congratulations. When are we
Thank
gonna
you,
do our
sir.
first payoff? By the
Payoff.
way, yeah, are we gonna do like a season payoff? Whoever wins the most top 5s of the season.
Okay.
I feel like a month is too hard because it's way too easy to tie.
Whoever.
Let's go season. Whoever wins by the most by the end of the season, what do they have to do?
They gotta
Or
get
what
a-
does the loser have to do?
Oh man. I mean, I could give
How
you
about
like
you tell us, listeners?
No.
No? You can send us a suggestion. We might not do it though.
Probably won't. But I mean, I can
We'll think on it. We'll tell you next week what the
give you a
payoff's
joke
gonna be.
answer.
We'll just think on it and give it a real
No.
answer.
Can't give
Give
you a
me the
real
joke.
answer.
Give me the joke.
I don't have one lined up. I'm just gonna say I would.
You could
I would
give me
say
one, but just
something-
not right
I'm not
now.
gonna workshop on camera here. I'm in entertainer mode.
All right. Well, next week we'll tell you what the payoff will be at the end of the season for the loser of the top 5.
It's gonna be bad.
Let's just
say it gets a little hog wild.
Let's just say I hope you've got good life insurance.
Let's just say
policy.
Isaac's gonna be completely nude on that episode.
Oh God. All right.
Let's just say that.
Let's just say that, but we won't commit to it. Okay.
Well,
Thank you for listening to the top 5. I don't know. I started going into outro mode. What are we talking about next? The news?
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's dive into the news. Let's dive into the news. Okay, folks, like we mentioned earlier, we already talked about the Oscars thing. There is one small update to that I don't want to spend a whole hour. Bless you. I thought you were going to sneeze.
Nope.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but there is an update to the Oscars
What is it?
fiasco.
What is it?
The Oscars is looking into additional measures, potentially stripping him of his status, his membership in the Academy, blah, blah, blah.
He's
blah,
in the
blah.
Academy?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they did ask him to leave,
Oh, and he said no.
and he refused.
Oh, well, that certainly changes things.
It makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
But
That's
they're
kind
also
of
just
crazy.
saying
He,
that.
he just said no.
He's like, no, I'm
like,
good, actually.
How about you bring me a drink?
It's like we were joking about it. We were like, imagine being that security guard. It's like,
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith, you're going to have to go now.
It's so funny to
Hands in the
imagine
pockets.
security at Oscars is just some like 14-year-old pimply kid. He's like, hey.
Hey, Mr. Smith,
Will,
you actually got to go now.
Could you leave?
So that's the only update I've seen so far.
Uh-huh.
But and I did see a TikTok of Chris Rock at like a stand-up show, and he was like, how was everyone's weekend? And then he was like,
It's kind of funny.
obviously at some point I will talk about it. And he's like, but I did have an entire show written before that happened. So I'm going to do that show instead of talking about that.
He's got to write it first. He's got to write what he wants to say.
Exactly. So that's it for the Will Smith
We can
update,
kind of relate to that.
but-
The writer's room.
Exactly.
You got to.
They can tell, definitely by listening to the episode, you can tell this is a fucking to the T written episode. I need to put this pen down. It's driving me crazy.
Makes you feel good, though, don't it?
Yeah, it makes me feel a little
Makes you
more
feel like
official.
daddy? Makes you feel like a big man?
Like, well, here on the podcast, I don't know. I don't even have a piece of paper in front of me. That's the funniest part.
It is, yeah.
I don't have
I
anything
don't know
to
what the hell
write
you're
on.
going to write on, yeah.
Write on my forehead or something.
Write some notes on your palm.
Okay, up next in the newsroom. I only sent this Northman poster because I briefly wanted to touch on this. I hate this.
Dude, it looks like shit. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm so sick of this fucking
Thank you.
poster structure,
Thank
dude.
you.
Oh my god.
That's why I sent it. I was hoping to have a whole conversation about
In
that.
general,
I fucking
it's
hate
not
it.
like it just looks bad because the colors are bad. It's just I've seen this poster so many goddamn times, like the same kind of one. I've seen it since fucking Avengers,
and it just
over
is,
and over and over and over.
It's basically like a character assembly
Yeah.
poster for the people listening to the podcast.
Main
Like,
character's the biggest with he's got fucking axes in his hands, and then it's got all the other characters below him, in front of him. It's fucking stupid. I'm so sick of it.
I just really hate it for even with the Dune one, that one's fugly.
I don't like that one
They're
either.
all bad. I'm so ready for this poster style to just die. It
Just
so
feels
ugly.
like it feels like an algorithm at this point. It just feels like
1,000%.
it's like that thing. You know how you heard like if you put faces on your thumbnails, more people will click on it.
Interesting.
It's like the same thing they're doing for posters. It's fucking annoying. I hate it. Especially just because, like, damn, just have an artist do some cool environment or something.
Please.
Or something like that. It'll just look so much better.
I'm like, why aren't they just licensing Mondo prints as official movie posters?
Exactly. That's why Criterion collections are so cool. They're never just like a character's face.
Right.
Male character's face holding a gun or an axe or whatever. It's always that, dude. I'm so bored of it. It's annoying.
And I am really excited for this movie, but I just think about, like,
dude,
if I didn't know Robert Eggers and I saw this poster, I would be like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, me neither. I don't care for that at all.
But, well, I'm glad we're on the same page there then. Okay, up next, this one is pretty sad.
Very sad.
Bruce Willis is stepping away from acting following his aphasia diagnosis. I think that's how you say that.
I think it's aphasia.
Aphasia. Okay, that sounds right. You know what that is?
Close enough. I looked it up. I don't have the actual description in hand right now. Do you know what it is?
Same thing. I just know loosely that it's basically like you lose the ability to communicate.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Like it affects your ability to express and understand any sort of communication or spoken language or whatever. Very sad.
Very sad. Yeah,
it's
pretty scary too.
Yeah, it can be brought on from old age or head injury, stroke, something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, pretty serious thing, and also practically, that heavily affects any,
Yeah, it's like he literally won't be able to do
script,
anything. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or say the lines.
Yeah, or communicate the lines or anything like that. Very sad, but also at the same time, he's had such a landmark career in Hollywood and in just acting in general. So at least he's like, hey, he's one of the most well-known, well-regarded actors in Hollywood, right? So he's like, his legacy is still there. It's not like his legacy is gone. It's just he's gonna sit in the back now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your favorite Bruce Willis movie?
It's probably not my favorite. Well, actually, you know what? My favorite's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, same.
But I want to recommend another movie that I feel like isn't super popular, but I was thinking about that movie the other day, and I didn't watch it all the way through. I watched this beginning of it, but I was still like, this movie is cool. Looper. You ever seen Looper?
Yeah, I have. Not for a long time, though.
Yeah.
That was a cool movie.
It's a cool movie. Yeah. It's an interesting movie.
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right?
Yeah, he's young Bruce Willis.
That's right. And he's got prosthetics.
He has prosthetics on, but they're actually pretty fucking good prosthetics.
Pretty good.
And Paul Dano's in it, too.
Is he?
Uh-huh.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a weird movie, but it's cool. I like that movie. I'd say that one's up there. Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, Moonrise Kingdom, classic.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Die Hard, obviously.
Die Hard's a classic.
Yeah.
He's in Sin City, too. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's the fucking...
Yeah, he's detective.
Chin, right?
No, that's...
Ron Perlman?
That's Ron Perlman.
Okay.
But he's still one of the other detectives in the movie, which is cool. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, I saw the movie, so I guess I knew that, but I forgot he was in it.
Yeah. Well... I almost said that doesn't matter, but
did you almost say rest in peace?
I did almost say rest in peace. He's
he's not
he's
dead.
alive and well. It's good for him. I'm happy that he's able to make the call to kind of step away on his own terms.
Live in peace.
Right.
Live in peace, Bruce.
Live in peace exactly. Have a good rest of your life. Okay, up next, HBO Max has officially released the official release date, which was originally April 22nd for the House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones spin-off prequel show, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is.
It will now air August 21st.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
So you know what that means, folks. There's a Game of Thrones episode coming in August. Probably.
I would try to think of a zinger from Game of Thrones. I couldn't think of one.
Jon Snow. That's the best I got.
Best we got.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, though? You excited for that, House of Dragon?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to be.
Yeah, I also want to be. I
got my fantasy fix.
I'm like excited I'm going to watch it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be there day one. But as it currently stands, I'm like, yeah, this could also come out next year, and I'd probably have the same feelings. You know what I mean? Like, also, I'm not awaiting it in anticipation.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't care that it got delayed 4 months from when it was supposed to come out.
And you know what? I don't want to open a can of worms here. I'm still pretty sour about season 8.
That's fair. Also, we have been burnt by even new HBO shows that we were excited for. We started watching fucking Winning Time. Shit kind of blows.
Oh, that's a hot take. I don't have that hot of a take on it for sure. Tell me about it. Did you watch more of it?
I haven't watched any more of it.
You haven't watched it?
I haven't. I was just so underwhelmed by what we did watch of it.
It's interesting that you actually brought up Winning Time because there's something I want to say about Winning Time that kind of has something to do with X. So I'll bring that up later.
Okay.
But I'm also just not... I mean, I like basketball fine. Like when you or Ethan are watching it or whatever, I'm like, yeah, let's hang out. Let's watch some basketball. Let's talk about it. I like to keep up with the Jazz and stuff. And then even with this, like I was super into the trailer, like the style of it was intriguing and stuff like that. But yeah, watching, I'm like, I'm really liking maybe half of this.
Yeah, maybe.
The rest of it, I'm not
pretty
super into.
Yeah. Speaking of of basketball, should I give a Jazz update?
Yeah, go for it. I don't know much about it. I just let you guys tell me about it.
We fucked up the junction again.
Oh.
It's not the year, folks. Not the year.
It's not the year.
I mean, unless they can turn it around, but I think we're on a 6-game losing streak right now.
Damn.
Dropped down to our 5th spot. Everyone's like, the entire rest of the NBA fan base is like rooting for the Jazz to be a round 1 exit from the playoffs, which is awesome.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't know.
Damn.
It's pretty. It is. We blew just the other night. We lost to the Clippers after blowing a 25-point lead to the Clippers that we maintained until the 3rd quarter.
How do you do that, Isaac?
Yeah, you just get.
Did you watch the game?
I didn't. No, I haven't watched a game in a minute. Maybe that's the thing is I haven't watched the games.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, what the fuck? Something's missing.
Can I give a naive basketball fan observation?
Sure. I'm no pro, but
I know Ethan might be screaming at me at home. All right, and I'm sorry, but genuinely, I'm not even trying to like shit talk or anything.
Sure.
My observation about the Jazz is just that they're very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like
very
sometimes they're doing great. Like sometimes they're like, damn, they just went up against this. I mean, I always thought the Celtics were like a really good game. Apparently
they
like
are
a mediocre game.
No, they're number 1 in the East right now.
Okay.
But that's how crazy the East has been. Is if you would have said that a month ago, they weren't. They were like, they were fine. But now I think they're the number 1 in the East. Yeah.
And that's also something I'm starting to notice too, is basketball in general. All the teams are kind of inconsistent.
It just
feels
depends,
like all of them,
yeah.
which is actually really exciting. I actually really like that there's not one team that's always fucking winning.
Yeah, it's really nice that the Lakers are fucking eating shit this year.
Eating nut.
They're barely in. Last year, LeBron James made fun of the play-in tournament, and this year it's his only hope of being in the playoffs.
God damn. Yeah, see, that's exciting. I like
Divine
that.
Justice.
So, yeah, I guess if I observe all the teams, they're all pretty inconsistent. But I feel like, yeah especially with the Jazz, I'm like, damn, they beat the Celtics. They fucking went toe-to-toe with, oh my God.
The Warriors.
The Golden State Warriors for a bit. They definitely lost, which, that's kind of to be expected. But still held their own. That's pretty impressive.
It is. And they did beat the Suns once this season, who are the best team in the league right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess
think they beat
in
them.
general, the sport is really bouncy. I like that about it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If you see me, if on the next episode I'm talking about how good the Sixers are and how much I love the Sixers, mind your fucking business, okay?
That's hilarious.
All right. That's the Jazz update, though. I'll be sporting my Jazz hat next
Jazz
time. If they win once in the next week, I'll wear my Jazz fit. I'll do a Jazz fit next week if they win.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Okay, up next, DC's The Flash star has been charged with disorderly conduct and harassment after an incident at a bar. 2 Hawaii residents have filed restraining orders against Ezra Miller for harassing and threatening them. Miller allegedly burst into their bedroom, the bedroom of the petitioner, and threatened the male victim, saying, "I will bury you and your slut wife."
So Ezra Miller has been kind of on a fucking tear through Hawaii like the last month. I don't know if you read the article, but it was basically saying that they were like that Ezra Miller got there like early March, and ever since then they've caused like 10 Hawaii PD calls at like bars and shit. Like
Why?
That. I don't know. I think they're just wilding out in Hawaii.
Who's they? Him
Ezra
and his
Miller.
friends? Oh,
Ezra
I'm sorry.
uses
that's
they,
right.
them pronouns.
I apologize. That's on me. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently they've just been causing like just a hell of a string of disturbances in Hawaii. I don't know all the details on it. The only thing I did read was that as far as their interaction with the police went, is they just paid like a $500 bail, and they left, and I was like, okay, so that was the end of that,
right?
But yeah, the 2 Hawaii residents filed the restraining orders against them, and they said that they burst into the bedroom and said, "I will bury you and your slut wife."
I'm like, for what?
That is so aggressive.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking
Is there
bad.
any information saying like what prompted it or why they
yeah,
like, what
actually
led
there
to
was
this?
at least at the bar. I don't know about what happens at the actual house, but at the bar it says that Ezra was upset because there was a couple on stage singing "Shallow" by Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, and I guess they didn't like that, and so they like went on stage and like grabbed the mic and
well, guess who's not getting
being an asshole.
Guess who's not getting an invite to our next karaoke party?
Ezra
Miller. Cross that name off the list.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, pretty crazy. That's just out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on with them, but
dude, they're just celebrating their fucking Oscar win for entering the Speed Force, I guess.
That's true. They got stoked. They're like, damn, I made it.
I don't know. I think that's it for the newsroom, though. I guess we could talk about this one. This one's kind of news.
What is it? Oh, yeah, if you want to, we can get into it.
I have two more bits that I want you to explain to me.
Okay.
These are both video game related news.
Okay.
Okay. E3's canceled forever and officially. Okay, no biggie.
Well, not officially, or not forever, just this year.
This year, okay.
Which was kind of already announced earlier this year.
Right.
They're already like, we don't have any plans. And everybody's like,
so why are you?
March.
Why is that good?
I don't think it's good. I just think it's like,
wouldn't you prefer it to be the Video Game Awards?
no, fuck the Video Game Awards. Fuck, I hate the Video Game Awards.
That's what I'm saying. So wouldn't you rather those get canceled?
Well, what I'm saying is that E3 just isn't really the most opportune way to do that anymore. Like to make video game announcement. Like even Sony hasn't even been there for a couple years now.
That's true.
So it's way more just like you don't really need to throw this like multi-million-dollar convention to do that anymore. You know what I mean? So it's more about the practicality of it. I love watching it because it's so funny.
Right.
It's exciting too. Like,
and there are good reveals sometimes. The Wolverine one was last year, wasn't it?
Well, no, that's a great example though. That wasn't E3. That was just Sony's own thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah, and Sony fucking kills it. And
right.
They haven't gone to E3 in the last couple of years. And
okay,
so
fair
E3 is mostly like it's just fun to watch because they're like, have you ever, this is going to sound really dweeby, right? And I don't know if the audience is going to super relate to this, but like growing up, I watched E3 like every summer. I was so excited about E3 during the summers. Like I remember my sleep schedule would be so fucked up that I would like wake up at like 10, 11 a.m. and I'd be like, I'd get some cereal, watch E3. It was awesome. I loved it.
Right.
But mostly because there were so many cringy fucking moments at E3. It's so goddamn fun.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times with you and Ethan, and it's
like
awful.
There's whole compilations on YouTube, just like E3 cringe compilations and just shit like that, and it's hilarious, dude. Yeah. I love it. So that stuff is just really fun. But also there is what I would say to like to speak to like the actual sincerity of like why I think it's a good thing is I just like the stage presence.
Sure.
Stage presence and like having a physical community of people who are into video games. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just not really opportune. And I understand why it's like, yeah, we're not going to
do this
throw
anymore.
This anymore, or at least not this year.
Sure. Fair enough.
Just because like, yeah, I can't imagine they're making much money from that.
Okay, cool.
But it's fun.
So then the other thing I want you to explain to me is why I should be excited or not excited about the PlayStation Plus rebrand.
You shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why.
I was excited.
You can be. I'm not trying to take it from you if you're interested in it, but like it's essentially an answer to Game Pass,
right,
which you're familiar
Xbox,
with, right?
Yeah,
The thing about Game Pass.
Explain what we're talking about, though. I guess to the audience.
Okay, so PlayStation Plus, which is normally like the online network service for
like
Sony,
$10 a month or whatever.
$10 a month or like $50 for a year, so you can play multiplayer video games. You can play with your friends. You get access to the store, and you also get free games every month.
Yeah, 2 free games. Well, I guess sometimes more.
Yeah, it's usually like I think you get 2 PS5 games and 2 PS4 games every month. And they're usually really good. So that's another thing to take note of. And you also get access to the PlayStation Plus collection on PS5.
Which has some great games. I mean
some of the best.
Games that
some of the best of all time.
Yeah, usually most of them I already own. But
but if you don't,
they're all great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really great. So they're like library on there is really small, but there's a lot of good ones on there. Games Pass has a lot of it's Microsoft's.
Right.
It's now their like main service, basically. Like it comes with Xbox Live, which is the same thing. You can play multiplayer games, all that shit. But with Games Pass, you get access to it's kind of like Netflix almost. Like you just get access to a giant library.
What was the video game Netflix called? Remember that?
Gamefly?
Gamefly?
I think they're still around.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. No, you're good. But yeah, it is like that, just way more practical.
Right.
So you just go through, if you pay $15 a month. That's important to note.
Yep.
And also all the Microsoft first party games are there day one.
And the games they do have on there they're usually
pretty good.
Yeah, and
pretty good.
I've used it on my PC. I played New Vegas for 5 minutes.
All the Fallout games are on there. All the Skyrim games are on there. All the Elder Scrolls games are on there. And also all those games are backwards compatible as well. So if you're only a console player, you can play 360 games. You can play Red Dead isn't on there, so that's a bad example. But like a game like Skate 3 could be on there or something. Right. So you wouldn't have to try to find a copy of that or buy it online for however much, right? You could just use Game Pass and just play it, which that's a really good thing. Like that is just overall a good thing for the gaming community.
Sure.
The reason the PlayStation rebrand is not good. Oh, I didn't explain the rebrand. So PlayStation Plus is rebranding to kind of answer to that. So they're going to be
first tier stays the same.
Yeah, first tier stays the same. Nothing's changing. You still get your 4 free games a month or whatever, right? Still access to all the other same shit. I forget what the second. I think the next tier is just you get access to a significantly smaller library of games on here.
I can tell you specifically what it is. PlayStation Plus Extra gives you. You get all of the benefits of the first tier, and then you get a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Blah 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 blah, and they're available for downloadable play. $15 a month.
Okay, great. So 400 of the most 400 with an asterisk. That's funny. Of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster. So. They're not. We haven't seen that catalog.
We don't
yet.
know what's in that catalog.
We don't know what's in that, but we do know it's from PS4 to PS5, and we also know that God of War,
meaning
Bloodborne,
that when you say it's PS4 to PS5, meaning it's only games from those eras.
Yes, that's correct. So only from those generations, right? And so what they're likely talking about is I'm betting Uncharted Collection will probably be on there.
Sure.
Last of Us 2 will not be on there. I will tell you that right now. I definitely don't think so.
Last of Us 2?
Yeah.
The newest Last of Us?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be on there.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to be on
There's
there because
400. How many?
There's 400. You're right, but it's not 400 first party. They're saying first parties will be included. First Last of Us will probably be on there, and they got some on the PlayStation Plus collection already. But I don't think they're going to do that.
Okay.
But also, the important thing to recognize is the first party games that are going to be on the service are not day one, like it is on Games Pass.
Meaning,
for example, when Halo came out, you could play it day one on Games Pass. Right. You did not have to pay for the game.
You don't have to pay for the game.
So a lot of the time, it's going to be, say, God of War 2 comes out in 4, 5, 6 months. It could be on this PlayStation Plus thing, or you could buy it right now for $70.
Right, yeah.
So whatever you want to do, I guess. So that's fucking stupid. And also, this is all PS4, PS5, no PS3. That's what this tier is, right?
Gotcha.
But and this is $15.
$15 a month, right?
That's fucking bullshit. One, but two, the next tier, right? You get access, and this is the important part, Isaac. 340 additional games, up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming.
I don't know what that means.
It means it plays like shit, is what it means, Isaac. It means that you can move the stick forward. You're not going to be moving for another 5-6 seconds. And also, usually the versions of the games are busted as shit. MGS4, you can already do this on PlayStation. It's called PS Now. You can use that.
Oh, right. That's how you play like the old Resident Evil games and all that. If you don't want to buy them.
Right. Yeah, you can do that, but you have to stream them. You can't download them.
Yeah, where are they streaming from, though?
The cloud.
That doesn't make sense to me.
And it's way too much fucking information. It doesn't matter how good your internet connection is. It's not going to feel good.
Right, yeah.
It's an interactive medium. It's one thing if your fucking TV show buffers. You can't do that. It's bad. I hate that they're like...
It's fine.
Oh my God. I hate that they say it's fine, but also they're just like... They keep saying, yeah, the PS3 games were just so complicated. They're just, oh my God, we cannot do that. Dude, there's fucking emulators on PC that you can play PS3 games on.
Right.
And they run fucking better. So that's a lie. And this shit, you also get access to PlayStation original PS2 and PSP generation video games. That's cool.
And those ones are downloadable?
Those ones are downloadable.
So it's specifically just the PlayStation 3?
Yes, and there's a whole can of worms about why, but I think it's all bullshit. They can do it. They just don't want to spend the money or time to do it. It's annoying. And it's also, you know what, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent. It's also fucking bad. I think that's a bad thing that it's like really hard to play one of the best generations of video games. It's hard to do
unless you have a PS3.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
It shouldn't be that way. I think that's bad. I think what if there was like an era of movies you just couldn't consume?
Right. Yeah.
Well, and it's some of the best. Right. That would be bad. Right.
Yeah,
Like just in general for just entertainment history. I think that's a bad
archiving.
Thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, you can through this really fucking broken, bad, malformed system. Right. I don't like that. But it is cool. You can download like the original PSP games, PlayStation original games. Maybe you'll hop into the Simpsons Hit and Run if that's on there.
Tony Hawk's American Wasteland.
If that's on there.
I will absolutely be playing it though, if it is.
That's the trick. Is if American Wasteland's on there. However, you could also probably find a copy of American Wasteland or find it on an emulator on your PC for like $2 or $3.
Yeah, but then I have to play it on my PC. I can't play it on my PS5.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point. And it's $18 a month.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous. $18.
Right. Or $50 or $120 a year.
Oh my God, dude. That's disappointing. So that's why I'm not excited about it.
Right.
If there's any other points out there like, hey, this is great, I'm happy for you. I don't want to take that from you. I personally think that's a fucking ripoff.
I think it's just going to really depend on when like the initial bone structure of the plan is out right now,
Mhm.
but I think things will change
It
once
could get
the
better.
actual details come out, right? Like
It could
maybe
get
the
better.
cloud thing, they'll be like, hey, listen, the emulation thing, we don't know, but the cloud is perfect and it works great, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And if that happens, hey, I'm all about it.
Sure.
But like even as of right now on the PS Now versions, I was looking into it because I wanted to play MGS4.
Uh-huh.
And I looked into it. Good thing I didn't do that because everybody's saying, yeah, there's a level that once you get to it in the cloud version of MGS4 that you just can't get past. And it's fucking broken. And nobody's doing anything
And
about
they
it.
just don't fix it.
Fuck that. I
Yeah,
hate that
I hate
so
that. That's
much. And it
annoying.
already plays badly. Like, oh my God. That's also another thing that I think is like a big advantage to playing things backwards compatible is like they'll look and run better.
Sure.
Like it's not going to look a whole lot better, but like I don't like out of just like the games that came out on PS3, right? If you remember playing Uncharted 2, well, that's a bad example because they remastered those. But
Sure.
But even American Wasteland, right? Probably ran like shit, 480p, 30 FPS.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, if that, right? So I mean, they're not going to upscale every game, but
Sure.
they can improve the frame rate, or at least improve the loading times. Like just shit like that, I think is just really good.
Well, American Wasteland famously has no load screens.
Famously. Isn't there a thing about how like the door at the end will stay closed if it's still not loaded or something like that, or it'll just keep going, like the tunnel will keep going?
I've never.
Or is it always loaded by that time because the tunnel's fucking
The tunnel-
5 minutes long to get through?
The tunnel takes a good full 60 seconds to get through.
So maybe there's never an issue with it, but
Yeah.
I imagine there has to be some kind of fail-safe where like, well, the game's about halfway loaded.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was just like a revolutionary
Yeah.
fucking load screen, and it's like obviously just very funny. Just you gotta ride your skateboard through this.
Through this
It's also
weird
the
tunnel.
funniest part to me is that like the areas are not big at all.
No.
It's so like when I think about like the Beverly Hills level of American Wasteland, I'm like, what could
This is Beverly
possibly-
Hills.
and also just what could possibly like the system's like, oh Jesus Christ, we could load this one, but oh my God.
Sounds like a rocket ship about to take off.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Fans
to
are
do
fucking exploding.
we're gonna have to do an American Wasteland episode at some point.
I'd love to do that. I would love to play that game again.
God, that's a great game.
That's the thing too, is like, yeah, those levels were tiny, and it's so funny to be like, yeah, this is all of Beverly Hills, or this is, and you ride 60 seconds
is
away, you're
all-
in Santa Monica, baby.
Yeah,
Great levels.
Great levels.
Amazing levels.
great stuff. God,
Good
American
game.
Wasteland, good stuff.
I wonder if
Anyways.
that's on Games Pass.
I don't know. We'll check. We'll look into it.
Check. Anyways, yeah, I kind of dweebed out there for a while. But
No, that's all right. That's your first taste of the Games Cast, folks. I know we've been saying that for a million bajillion fucking years, but
Yeah, it's coming.
it's coming. Maybe we're just trying to figure out the format of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that genuinely is it though for the newsroom.
Dude.
What do you got for Monolith must watch of the week?
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm gonna keep it nice and simple. It doesn't really relate to the movie we're watching
Mm-hmm.
now, but I recommend Heat.
Oh, classic.
Very popular movie. A lot of you have probably seen it, but for those of you who haven't, you need to watch that movie. That's an
Classic.
amazing movie with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Michael Mann directed,
Yep.
crime movie.
Thriller. Yeah.
Crime thriller, and it's I love that movie so much. It's
Very
amazing.
good.
You should watch it.
So I didn't watch anything. I'm watching the Hunger Games movies this week with Callista.
I was gonna ask you, is there any reason behind that, or do you just want to watch them?
I guess Hunger Games is 10 years old or something.
Hmm.
And Callista was like, "Oh, we gotta." Yeah, the first Hunger Games movie came out 10 years ago, so we're rewatching all of them. They're good. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen them all before.
Uh-huh.
We just watched Mockingjay Part 1 last night. We'll probably.
Oh, damn, you're going through them.
There's only 4 of them.
Yeah, still though.
Yeah. We might watch the last one tonight. We'll see, depending on when we wrap this up. But
Sure.
I
watched
yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
I
you're
watched
good.
the first one recently though, and I was like actually pretty pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I only gave it a 6, but I'm still just like, that's a pretty good movie.
Have you seen Catching Fire?
No.
You should watch that one.
Well, I've seen it before, but I haven't watched it recently.
You should rewatch it. Catching
I probably
Fire
will.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, like, just the
Yeah.
set design is like pretty, like it doesn't,
Story's pretty
it doesn't
interesting.
look super CGI.
Right.
A lot of it is obviously, but like it's still pretty well made.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick a watch, sure, Hunger Games is fun, but I haven't really watched anything this week that I'm like, oh my God, you've got to check this out.
Yeah.
But I do want to briefly talk about Drive My Car.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I was hoping you would
Okay.
you'd give us your review here, your long form review.
This is, and I'll try and keep it brief, folks. Drive
Lots of
My
briefs.
Car is the Oscar-winning Japanese film that just came out. Well, not just came out, a couple months ago, in Utah at least. Rave reviews, absolute
Yeah, I've been hearing about this movie for a while.
barn burner of a film,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Blockbuster,
A blockbuster, if you will.
a barn burner.
But if you're going to watch it, I'd recommend bringing a pillow and a nice comfy blanket because you're going to be fucking snoozing. It is. I'm so sorry. I like boring movies.
Yes.
This movie is fucking so boring.
Damn.
And it's rare for me to critique a movie on the premise of it being boring.
Because we had a whole conversation about it one time.
Right. Exactly. Irishman is kind of boring.
But it's good.
It's 3 hours long. It's a little slow. Some of it's boring. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Drive My Car. I might just be missing something. I just don't get it. I do not get it. I don't think that people are... I think what's the most frustrating is I'm like, I don't get it. And I'm trying to read people's reviews. And I'm like, you don't get it either. Because all of your reviews just say, like, wow. Like,
masterpiece.
Indescribably good. I'm like, man, sure be good if you could describe something that was good about it, though. Like, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. If you loved the movie, that's totally fine. I'm happy for you. And I'm not trying to challenge you on that or anything. It just... I wanted to really enjoy the movie, and there's really good stuff in it. Like, I really like the themes of like communication, and like there's just some good stuff like that in the movie. But yeah, it's just so fucking boring.
It's pretty funny. I remember I came over. I think we were about to watch the Oscars before.
Yeah, I watched it right before the Oscars,
and I remember sitting down and being like, "Damn, I was planning on watching this, but
we almost watched it that night instead of Austin Powers.
Thank God we didn't. It sounds like, but it was pretty funny. I walked in, and I was like, "Oh, you're watching Drive My Car," and you're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Is it good?" And you're like, "It's long," and I was like, and I didn't pick up on it at first. I was like, "Oh yeah." But is it good? And you're like, it's long.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
It was so fucking long. And
how long is the movie?
3 hours.
Fuck, man. That is long.
It's a long movie, and it is so slow. And every other review I've seen is like, it like meanders, but then by the end, it hits you like a ton of bricks. No, it doesn't. What they mean is there's no emotion until the very end. The guy breaks down in one scene. And yes, it's sad, but that's not... That doesn't... it just didn't do it for me. It just did not do it for me.
Just did not do it for me.
It was not the film for me. And so I know there's some tomatoes coming my way. Steven's going to be bitter about it.
What score did you settle on?
6 out of 10.
6. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff in it you could find.
It's good. It's good. Like, okay, I'm not going back on the whole thing. It's not good. I don't like the movie. It's not a horrible movie.
But it's not a badly made... There's nothing offensive about it.
It's technically just fine.
Okay.
Right? The writing is technically solid. It's some of the scenes, in fact, are pretty interesting. Like there was definitely like just these, especially for the first hour and 40 minutes. I was like, okay, I can get into this just being really slow and boring. Yeah,
it's the entire movie of X.
Yeah, like there's a whole like, okay, let me give you a quick example. His wife in the movie tells him these stories. She's like a writer. I don't know. It's kind of explained strangely, but like she tells him stories that she writes, but she can only tell them to him while she's having sex with him. And then she doesn't remember them, and he has to tell her the stories like the next day. And then she'll be like, oh, okay. And she'll write it down. And so like, and like the stories she's telling are kind of interesting. So like they're having sex, but she's like talking about like this girl breaks into this kid's house and she's in his room and he's not there. And she's like, get it. And just like da-da-da, stuff like that. And it's interesting. And then anyways, his spoiler alert, his wife dies. Later in the movie, he's talking to another character who starts telling him like, he's like, oh, your wife had told me a story. And he's like, oh yeah, that ends like this. And he's like, no, she told me this thing that happens next. And he's like, but I don't know if that's where the story actually ends. And like that scene is like 15 minutes long. And it's literally them just sitting in the back of the car and as he's just telling him the story. And it's really interesting. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And then there was another hour and 30 minutes of movie after that still. And I was like, it's just too fucking long, man. It's really just too damn long. So yeah, not for me. Drive My Car is not on my must-watch list.
Isaac gives it
6 out of 10.
You give it gives it a thumbs down. I
gave it a thumb sideways and a 5. And I still got my pen in the hand. Okay.
Sideways thumb with a pen.
Where are we at? We're about 40-ish minutes in. Not too shabby.
Is it time 45 to dive
minutes.
In
I think it's time to dive
to
in.
the topic.
Time to dive into the topic, folks. This week.
Topic.
Quick question.
Okay.
How much? So you answered the phone in the movie theater. Were you alone?
Nope.
Was the movie on?
Not yet.
There's trailers.
Yes. No, just before trailers. But there were other people in the theater, yeah. So it was kind of like, I didn't want to be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Well, you had like a full 5-minute conversation with me before you were like,
oh, yeah. you gotta.
I was like, wait, where did I go in Elden Ring? And you're like, you gotta make sure you eat a larval tear on your Radigan dragon.
I was like, yeah, you got about 14 larval tears. You should use some of them. Where's that at?
Yeah, but I didn't really hear you whispering, and then you were.
Oh, really? I thought you were gonna be like, why are you talking quiet?
No. But then it was like 5 minutes later. I was like, so let me ask you a quick question about the best weapons in the game. And you were like, that's totally fine, but can you just text me because I'm actually at the movies? And you guys were like, what the fuck? Why are you on the phone?
So. Yeah. The lights were starting to get dim right when you said that. And I was like, all right, I gotta wrap it up
hop
here,
off the horn.
There were also, I don't know if this is better or worse, but there were only 3 other people in the theater.
Do you think they could hear you?
Oh yeah, because it was a small theater. Like they were.
Like, why is this kid talking about Elden Ring?
Like, you know how the recliners work? How there's like the recliner and then a good
distance
chunk of space, and then a wall, and then the other recliners in front of you.
Yeah.
All 3 people were in that next row. And 2 of them were right in front of me. There were a couple. They were talking a little bit too.
Well,
but I was like very obviously on the phone because you could hear me talking, and they'd be like silence and be like, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure, especially if it's so you basically.
It wasn't during the movie.
You only interrupted the lady that was like, Cinemark loves theater, whatever.
Yeah,
that
exactly,
fucking lady.
exactly.
That's totally fine. So what I was late to the movie.
Oh, I wanted to explain this to you.
What did I miss?
You didn't miss much.
What's the A24 title card look like?
I don't remember.
Just normal, probably.
Just normal, probably.
Okay. Right.
Mia Goth does some coke.
Yep. Okay.
Looking in a mirror in this weird. Oh, it's like a strip club kind of place, and she's like looking at herself. I don't think there's a monologue going on. There might be no. There's no monologue, but she just says something to her. She's like, "I'm a fucking star" or something like that. Does coke, and then her boyfriend comes in and starts like kissing her, and they're like kissing pretty good,
pretty
hard, right? And then he's like,
"Yep."
He's like, "You got it, girl. You got something." And then they leave, and you see them walking away, and you see behind them there's like just a sign for the thing. It just says like, "Booze and food and nude girls" or something like that. And it's like a bunch of neon signs here in a desert. Looks like Nevada, Mesquite, something like that. Then they start driving. You see that scene in the trailer, that wide shot of the whole van. They're talking back and forth. They're like yelling at each other, making little bits at each other. And then they get to the gas station.
So I missed like maybe 5 minutes. Maybe. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you did not miss much.
Cool. I don't know if I introduced this already, but we're talking about the movie X.
X marks the spot.
From director Ty West, who also it is A24. I'm not mistaken in thinking that, right?
That's correct.
I bought X merch from A24.
There you go.
Which took a gamble. Hadn't seen the movie yet, but I was like, that's a pretty sweet gym bag. I'm gonna go ahead and cop that thing. On lock, got the damned thing.
Nice.
I also got the Farmer's Daughter thong, which is pretty hilarious.
Great.
And now that I'm seeing the movie, I'm like, nice. They did have this online ceramics A24 shirt that's a picture of the nerdy kid, and it says like something about choking on a pool of blood in the back of your own throat, and I really wish I had bought that.
Damn, that does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to wear it much anywhere, but
yeah,
be able to wear it on the podcast. Wearing my Rucking Fought and Deathproof shirt right now, I just realized.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Hey, you're pretty good.
You're pretty good.
Okay, so X from director Ty West.
X marks the spot.
Keep making the same thing. Ty West, who has also directed The House of the Devil, which was fine. Not my favorite.
Mixed bag
there. And he's also one of the directors of... He does a lot of the... what do you call it? The anthology horror movies. So he did some stuff in VHS. He did some stuff...
that's interesting.
Yeah, he did some stuff in ABCs of Death. He directed this movie called The Sacrament, which I remember watching actually a long time ago. That's pretty fucking scary. It's like a fake mockumentary that's like if Vice went to the Jonestown massacre, but like in modern day.
It's a cool idea.
It's okay. It's all right. But yeah, so kind of a mixed bag. Not expecting too much from Mr. Ty West. Oh, he also directed the Cabin Fever 2 sequel, which I'm sure is fucking terrible. So, you know, it looked cool, but I was like, I'm kind of hedging my bets here a bit.
Yeah. If I can cut in here really quick, I'd like to kind of something I really like about the movie now, but a feeling I kind of had that you might be able to relate to about this movie
before you saw it.
Yeah, before I saw it, and I remember because Ethan saw it and he was like, "Yeah, it's good. You should see it." And I was like, "Okay, I might." And then you asked me if I wanted to see it. I was like, "I'm not really in the mood to see it." But the trailer is like good. The trailer looks fun, but I was getting some serious Under the Silver Lake vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that, right?
Yeah.
Like this very hyper stylized you know,
vibes but no meat.
exactly.
Zing.
All garnish, no meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really what I expected from the movie. I totally thought that's what it was going to be, like this very very over stylized, not even just hyper stylized, over stylized, to the point where it's just fucking annoying. And the reason I was going to bring up Winning Time before is because that's a great example of something that is way too over stylized.
Waste more style than substance.
Exactly. And I hate that shit. Like that is like one of my biggest pet peeves in any kind of like film or TV show or anything like that. Dude, if you're fucking throwing your art style in my face every 5 minutes to the point where I'm sick of it by like the 20-minute mark, I don't like your movie.
The order of core key things to a good movie. Number 1 is story. Period.
It's true.
Period. The story is the key. Number 2 is sound.
Sound's got to be good.
Right? Then from there, I think that's when you can start it starts getting a little muddy and you can kind of mix it up. Because I totally agree. You can tell when people are really good technically at their craft, but they're not telling very good stories.
Yeah.
And I will watch shitty looking movies that are really engaging before I'll watch great looking movies. For example, that Netflix sci-fi movie with I think Paul Rudd was in it, Mute or something like that.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
but
it was like a very Blade Runner-esque looking show.
Yeah.
Apparently terrible. Apparently fucking awful.
Dude,
right? I believe it.
Hate that. And
Cyberpunk.
Exactly. And like the tough thing with that is there are a lot of like I love hyper stylized movies though.
Sure.
And I would consider this movie pretty hyper stylized, but in a really good way.
Yeah,
Like
even Death Proof, like the grindhousey vibe.
Death Proof is a great example of it because it's not the whole fucking movie.
No. There's story with the you can have both, but you just can't rely on just the one.
Exactly. But yeah, this movie I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's not like what I thought it was going to be at all.
Yep.
It is. There's definitely some. I don't want to use the word homage, but there's hints of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there. A lot. Like it
is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
My eyes.
Yeah. Well, so maybe it is an homage.
I would say this movie is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot we actually deserved this year.
That's a good way to put it.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't think we talked about it, but. The sequel that came out earlier this year.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Oh, it is. Oh my God. It is so fucking bad.
Damn.
Irredeemably bad on almost every front.
I almost want to dive into that.
You kind of need to watch it just so you can.
So you can tell me about it?
No, just so you like know what I'm talking about. Like, it is awful.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's awful. So seeing this movie, which is a Texas themed, they're basically out in the middle of deep western Texas at like a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, and then there's a killer on the loose. Yeah. Right. So I would say like, oh yeah, they know they're going for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Almost like a spiritual successor.
Yeah,
or spiritual cousin to.
I would almost compare it to Texas Chainsaw Massacre the way that I would compare Underwater to Alien.
Oh, okay.
Like it's wearing its inspiration on its sleeve, so much so to the point that it's like, yeah, it's very clear. Like Ty West would be if he were to try to be like, yeah, I can kind of see the Texas Chainsaw. I'd be like, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
He'd be like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think I've heard of it. Like, and yeah, no, he knows that. That's what it is.
So it's not subtle, but it's not overdone.
I think it's perfectly its own thing as well.
It's really good. Yeah, I really. This one has something that especially diverts from that sort of Texas Chainsaw feeling is it's very focused on the sex aspect of. Like didn't he describe it as like a sex horror, like a sexy horror or something like that? And it is that. It's like it's exactly that. No matter, I mean, I was confused by that because I was like, what is that going to mean?
Right.
But yeah, it is very focused on like just sex.
Yeah. On that subject, it is the single best sexual political horror film since It Follows.
Damn.
In my eyes, I would say. It's not doing anything groundbreaking by any means with like what it has to say, but I just thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
I just felt like there were so many moments that could have been in poor taste, and none of them were, in my eyes at least.
I can see that.
And specifically like with the sex. So I guess before we dive into that, maybe to give a brief synopsis of what the movie's about, X is a film about a group of... I don't even know how fucking old they are. College age, I guess.
I would just call it adults.
Yeah, a group of adults. A group of adults go out to this really poor rural town in West Texas, right? I assume so. and they go to these old people's house who are like gonna let them stay in one of their guest houses, like just across the way there a little bit. But what these old folks don't know is that these guys got some other plans, and they're gonna film themselves a porno.
They're shooting a little
Skin flick. Shooting a little something where it's a little sweeter down south.
Fuck, experimental smut.
There you go.
Damn it, I had it in my head and I forgot what it was.
Experimental.
Experiment smut.
There we go. Sex spearmint gum.
That's experiment. Yeah. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, that's what they're filming out there, right? And so that's the whole thing is they're filming this porno out there, and then while that's happening,
Farmer's Daughter.
Then that's like I think that's the name of the porno, right?
Yeah, it's like the theme.
Yeah, and then
storyline. From
there, the old folks, the old lady specifically,
get a little charged up.
She gets a little something she ain't felt in a while. And then she starts killing people.
Yeah.
That's the plot of the film.
By the way, I really liked that. Because I wasn't super familiar with how they were going to do like the killer slasher part of the movie. I was like, okay, is there going to be something that they haven't met yet that's going to do? Is going to be some fucking gator man? I don't know what
the gator part was pretty scary.
Yeah, gator part's great. But it's the well, I don't know. Are we spoiling it?
I guess it depends. The non-spoiler way, we're going to do light spoilers.
Well,
I won't give away specifics.
We already said Granny kills people.
Well, yeah, that's like the plot of the movie.
That's the plot of the movie. So
yeah, you're fine.
But seeing like the moments between the granny and the old man, and like how she's like, I just really want to be wanted, and he's like, I will have a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, I want.
I was like,
you, but
this
I
is
can't.
really sad. This is genuinely really sad to watch.
You. So when we were watching it,
Mm-hmm.
I was really worried because I was like, man, I hope I'm not just being a weirdo, but I really like how much this is, and this might even sound weird on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, and like I said, maybe I'm giving the movie more credit than it deserves, but I genuinely think that this movie does a really good job of exploring elderly sexuality in like a way that I'm sure there's art house movies that do it much better.
Yeah.
But for this kind of film, for its demographic audience, for an A24 film who knows that most of the people watching this movie are going to be 18 to 30 years old, I just felt like it was really well done, actually.
Yeah,
and
I agree, actually.
It was pretty fucking sad. Like, a lot of it, like,
I felt
was
that
like,
way a lot of the time.
This is pretty sad.
And that reasoning behind it is really, the concept itself is genuinely interesting.
Right.
Like, when we get, classic slashers and stuff like that, either we're not really given a reason, or it's like some revenge thing or some really played out thing. But for this, it's literally just these people are being weird and creepy, but the reason behind it is genuinely sad.
Like, so human.
Yeah,
right.
It's a genuinely human thing. I mean,
and eventually it gets worse and worse to a point where it's like, okay, well, no.
It gets elevated for sure. But like a moment in the trailer, I guess I'll talk about, is there's a part in the trailer where you see Mia Goth, she's in bed, and there's an old lady right next to her, and she's like touching her. Obviously, very off-putting, very gross, very bad. But like, when I was watching that part in the movie, I was like, damn. She's like sad. Just trying, like, she like wants to hold her.
She's just like admiring her, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So when I was watching it, I was like, obviously this is scary because it's some fucking strange old lady is like in your bed touching you. Yeah, that's fucking scary. But the reason behind it, I was like, this is really interesting to me. I really like that idea. One
of the parts that for me it didn't work at first, but then it kind of immediately. I just have such an ick against this in movies when characters start to sing. I just don't like that. Even in Hunger Games, there's a part where they're like, Katniss, will you sing a song for us? And she's like, a song? Sure. You just dives right into it. I'm like, whoa, no. That doesn't happen in real life. And in this movie, there's a part where they're like, just right after like a pretty serious conversation, they're like, oh, we play a little ditty. And then Brittany Snow starts singing Landslide. I think that's what that song called.
I do like that song.
Yeah, I do like that song. And at first that part was a little bit cringy. But then as soon as it starts doing like the kind of cross dissolves between the old lady and them, it was sad. I was like,
I do agree.
This is bumming me out, man. This is a bummer.
That's actually a really interesting direction to take the conversation too, because there was a lot of that I was admiring in the movie too, especially that part, because I remember watching it and being like, is this trying to paint like the old people as scary, or is this supposed to just be a juxtaposition, or what is this? But now after watching, I'm like, well, it's more so just like, I don't know what, I guess what I took from that moment was just like, embrace your youth. Don't let it get too far away from you. You know what I mean?
And I do think one of the other big themes of the movie that I took away from it is like, a lot of it, like, of course, some like they're killing people, right? That's it does get to a point where it's indefensible.
It's an overreaction, yeah.
Sure, but a lot of it is genuinely for me like themes of like just reactionary thinking to the elderly in general. Period.
It's true.
Like just like simple moments of that, like just like the elderly, like any part of her trying to be sexual in any way is like a disgusting thing. Like they're like, oh, like revolted by it, right?
Yeah.
And then like the movie really, I think, does a good job of kind of if you in the audience kind of had that impulse to kind of pull away from it, I do think the movie does a good job of kind of making you feel bad about it.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good point actually, because
yeah.
Even like the part where she like just goes up to her husband and she's like wearing that like silky dress
She's
or whatever,
like dancing a little bit.
Yeah,
for
and
him.
I was actively being like, all right, relax. It's not gross. She's she's a little bit older. Yeah.
She's a pretty old fucking lady.
Yeah, she's a bag of bones.
Yeah.
Trying to bone.
She's trying to get one more fucking funny bone in her.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much immediately after that too, there's a part where the old man is like, yeah, this is cool, and I expected like from a classic slasher sort of dynamic between these two characters to be like, this is disgusting, get away from me, or some like really gross reaction that makes you just hate both of them more. But what he actually says is like, babe,
baby, I love
can't
you.
do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I want to. You're beautiful. Damn, I cannot do it.
I can't do it. I wish I fucking
old for
could.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I was like, especially like just to hit that note pretty early on in the movie, and it kind of keeps going in that direction. I really admire that. I like that a lot. Because near the end, there's a moment between those two characters that like initially I was like, oh, are they about to make this gross? But I was actually kind of like, go these guys.
I know exactly what you're talking. I think we should spoil it. Not quite yet, but in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do know what you're talking about. And I just feel like they do a really good job of being like, she, especially in parts where it's hard. Okay, some of these things are kind of hard to talk about because I kind of have theories with the movie. So maybe let's split it into two. Let's give a couple more at this point, basically, if you're listening to the episode and you haven't seen the movie, I do genuinely want to say, like, I would really recommend the movie.
I would too. It's a good movie.
And I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Like, it's 8 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. I did have a fucking theater experience.
I was gonna ask you about this because I saw Callista's tweet.
Yeah. Yep. Someone got shushed.
Oh, someone got shushed.
We need to get a shush board in here.
I'd love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we'll get that. So that'll be an upcoming segment. This is our first shush of the season, though. I'm pretty sure.
Before you start, I want to give my quick non-spoiler.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I want to hear it. But yeah, for me, I totally thought this was gonna be a movie that like you and Ethan liked, and I just wasn't really
not for
big
you.
on. Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was gonna be a Halloween situation. You
Sure.
know what I mean? It's not. It's good.
No.
It has a lot of its own spirit in there, blended in with a lot of things you probably really like about. If you like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you'll probably like this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Go see it.
Absolutely. Okay. Quick theater experience story, and then we're diving into spoiler territory.
Shush story.
The shush corner. Shh. That'll be the intro.
The library segment.
There you go. So, fucking peanut gallery once again, folks. Also,
love the opening.
A bunch of like 40 to 50-year-olds that I'm like, why are you here? Which I'm not saying you can't go and watch this movie, right? But here's a message for all the people out there that talk in the movie theater. You should feel embarrassed.
I agree.
It's one of those things.
It's not a bar.
It's not. This is not a interactive experience.
It's not.
That's not what the fucking movie theater's for. Shut your fucking mouth, please.
It's inconsiderate.
It's one thing to whisper. It's one thing to giggle. It's one thing to react to loudly even, right? It's one thing to be a kid screaming in a theater. I will forgive that. If you're a grown adult making out loud jokes for an audience of no one laughing at them, shut up and leave. It is my number one biggest pet peeve. Like,
yeah. No, I fucking hate it too.
Grinds my gears.
You know what is funny though? Callista's tweet is very funny because I have also noticed it more since being friends with you. And I don't know what fucking curse you put on me, but take it back.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and I try and keep my composure. I just feel like I feel it. I feel the heat. I can feel the aura around me when people can hear someone else, and they're like, Isaac's gonna shush him.
I love that vibe though. That's
and I should have shushed. Actually, I have 2 shushes this season because the Batman. Remember, motherfucker next to me wouldn't shut up either.
Oh, I did not hear that.
He was the guy that when
he was next to you,
like
right next to you.
He was sitting right next, so I couldn't shush him.
I was gonna say you shushed a guy fucking less than a foot away from you.
I did shush that couple when we went and saw Pig. They were right next to us.
Oh yeah, they laughed at you.
They did. That was fucked.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what those people are up to these days.
Who got?
I saw him. We got dinner.
Yeah. So, anyways, the guy Batman, he's laughing right next to me when Catwoman kisses Batman. He's like, "Oh, I know he hard as hell." Just like, okay, that's funny. Stop.
Hey, sick joke.
It's sick joke.
Shut your fucking mouth.
And he also kept coughing the whole movie too, and I was like, "Please, dude, please." So, anyways, the Batman one wasn't as bad because he kept it sparse.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's funny.
And he was also right next to me, so I was like, maybe that's why I can hear him so well.
And it's not your place at that point. Everybody knows that in a theater. If you're right next to the shusher, it's not your place. I'm like, if you're in front of him,
perfect.
That's
behind him.
That's
better.
your golden hour, right? Yeah, exactly. There. That's your moment to shine.
I'm the fucking butt of the worst of this right now because he's right next to me and I can't do anything about it.
You're helpless. You're the victim.
Exactly. So
somebody's got to step in.
Back to X though, right? We're watching this fucking movie, and these fuckers. First of all, one of them is just laughing really hard. It's not her fault, right? She's got kind of like an old lady, like kind of a smoker laugh a little bit. Yeah, not even a cackle. That seems a little sexist, but just I'm not calling you a sexist, but I'm just saying for me to use that would, especially having heard it, would seem a little sexist. So I won't use that word. But no, just like a little too loud. But whatever, right?
Hyena laugh.
She's just laughing like a hyena is all.
Like from The Lion King.
She's just kind of laughing too loud, and then they just kind of keep like mumbling to each other, and that's like already kind of annoying. But I do have this paranoia fear that one of these days I'm gonna shush someone and they're gonna be like, "My wife is blind, and I'm explaining what's happening in the movie to her." And so I'm like, "Okay, well, I didn't know that." And so if they're just talking and I can overhear them, I try and keep my composure. I do, but then he's like making bits. He's like making bit jokes, and he's just like,
"Those are the worst.
Those are the worst." And he's just like, boom, chomp, get your ass chomped.
Boom, that's dynamite.
Yeah, like there's a part where someone's sneaking around and he's gonna be like, he's around the corner, boom, like, or there's a part where someone's got their hand at a door and he's like, "She's about to lose her fingers." And I'm like, dude, please. So
shut up, dude.
One of them gets up to go to the bathroom.
Oh, caught him alone.
While he's gone,
was posse.
No, I was in the theater still. While he's gone, I'm like. Then they start going off again back there. And I'm finally like, shh. And I see Mayumi next to me jump. She sinks in her chair a little bit. And then they shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They were definitely like, oh. And then
he didn't like the joke.
Joker Boy comes back. He doesn't know. He doesn't know there's a whole new vibe in the theater. So he keeps kind of saying stuff. And I can like hear them like trying to be like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't say that." They're kind of getting mad. And then a little bit later, Josue eventually is like, shh. Like a little bit of a softer shush, right?
Damn. Okay, Josue.
And then, but he doesn't stop. He makes jokes for the rest of the movies, which is like fucking whatever. The worst is like towards the end of the movie, there's a part where someone's holding a shotgun, and then something happens, and he's like, "Should have shouldered it," and it was just. Also, not one person in this theater has laughed. Not one. It's horrible. It's driving me crazy.
See,
right?
The part I know exactly what part you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that just pisses me off.
And I was telling these guys after we saw the movie, I was like, there's a lot of funny moments that were genuinely funny in that movie,
and they
are ruined because of his stupid joke about the joke itself. The scene is funny on its own. You don't need to make an additional joke.
Hey man, how about you schedule yourself some fucking stage time?
Yeah.
At what's that place called?
When it's on Wise Guys.
Wise Guys.
I think.
Hey, why does this wise guy wisen up and go to Wise Guys?
Yeah. So. That's number 2 shush story. Apparently, afterwards, we stayed. There was a post-credit scene. I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
And Callista went to the bathroom while we were waiting for it. And when she came out, she said that the people said, "Sorry, we ruined the movie for you," to her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and she was just like, "Okay."
Okay.
But oh well, I don't really care. You should feel that. You should
go
home.
They were conscious of how fucking annoying they were being
after they were shushed. At least, yes.
Okay. Well, what are you, a fucking baby?
Take
you never heard this before?
Take it home and learn from it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I can say.
Don't make us feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's my second shush story of the season. But God, man,
those are the worst, dude.
The worst. So it didn't ruin the movie for me though.
Good.
And
I'm glad. It can.
Yeah,
glad it didn't.
sorry to go off on that whole tangent, but I gotta tell the shush story every time. I gotta tell the shush story.
I gotta hear a good shush story. Gives me wakes me up in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So to spoil some parts of X,
I would also say the timing of an interaction in a movie theater, I think, is also an important part of it. I think that's where the differential between an offense lies. You know what I mean?
right?
Because even if you lean over and be like, even like kind of loud, 1 second,
Right.
no big deal.
Right.
If you're for like 10 seconds, that's way worse than a loud outburst for 1 second.
And especially if you're intentionally reacting to the movie, you're waiting for a quiet part in the movie to say something out loud.
Mhm.
That is where it's like,
Yep.
you are not part of this movie.
It's also part of timing too.
Yeah.
Because if you need to tell somebody something, or if like somebody just got back from the bathroom, okay, the movie's loud, I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
She went in the warehouse and the guy was in there, but she's
Sure.
Yeah, just stuff like that. You got to do that sometimes. No big deal.
And I've done that before. We've definitely had moments before where I've been like leaning over to you, like, wait, what have I missed? And I lean over to you and I'm like, well, this was happening and the movie's kind of loud. And I'm like, and then the movie gets really quiet and I'm like, oh. Sorry. Where you yell a little bit, right?
Yeah,
that's
it's natural.
it's on accident. I get it.
Yeah.
Everybody whispers
That's an
during a
innocent.
movie.
That's an innocent offense, right?
I've whispered during movies. I'm not sitting there silent, my mouth zipped, but
Mhm.
right?
You're not privy.
No. I know a
to
good theater whisper, but I certainly know where the line is.
Yeah, you got to know that line.
Fuck,
You got to
man.
know that line. It's got to be a hard line.
So stop listening if you talk at the movies.
We just lost half our audience. I hope you're happy.
I'm out of here. Well, I'm out of here. I think maybe it's a psychological thing, and I shouldn't be so hard on people. Maybe people have been watching movies at home for the last 2 years, and they're so excited to go back out, and they're like, I think a lot of these people aren't doing it to be assholes. I think they think
It's fine.
this is what I do when I watch movies at home with my friends and families. Like when we were watching Luck of the Irish, we were talking the whole damn time.
Yeah, and
I'm at home.
it's just such a drastically different
I'm
environment.
at
There's
home.
other people, strangers, who paid to see this movie.
Even if I'm at home watching a movie for the first time and we're talking, making jokes, I'm
Yeah,
fine with that because
exactly.
it doesn't ruin the movie for me.
Yeah.
We're watching it together. But yeah.
Especially like a theater is a place meant to watch something without distractions.
Yeah.
That's why the fucking screen is so big.
I know.
That's why it's so loud. That's why it's dark.
I told Clista, I was like, it might sound like nerdy or whatever, but part of the experience here is that I'm allowing myself to believe I'm not in a movie theater to
Mhm.
watch this movie.
It's true.
And if you're talking, it's a constant reminder that I'm listening to you in a movie theater. And I hate that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hate that. So anyways, X. X is really good though.
Mhm.
And I do want to spoil a couple of things just to talk about it for the folks that don't care or the folks that have already seen it.
Mhm.
The scene that I think you were talking about is when the woman and the man have sex on the
Mhm.
bed.
And it's sweet.
It is
I would say
scary.
It's
And it is
off-putting
gross.
because it's off-putting because they've been killing people the whole time.
Sure.
And she's covered in blood.
Yeah, and it's creepy. I should say
It's
creepy
creepy.
more than gross.
The atmosphere and the situation are creepy.
Right.
But the two old people who are like, let's get a little naughty.
And he's like, I'll do it. I'll risk it for you, baby.
That's not the bad part. That's
No.
not the gross part. It's like if there were two young people having sex after killing people, that'd be like, oh, this is also really creepy.
Right, yeah.
And also, yeah, the Mia Goth is under the bed too.
Right.
So, but yeah, in that moment, I was like, oh man, he's putting that work in.
I didn't like that she was like, fuck me. Fuck me. I was just like,
she says more than that. She says, she's a dirty old bird, isn't she?
oh, I'm gonna call the episode a dirty.
Birdie.
She's a dirty birdie.
She is a dirty birdie, dude.
Oh
She
my
likes
God,
that.
that's
She
fucking
likes a little pillow talk. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, she does. She likes she likes a little World War I and II.
The Great War, as she knew it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She wanted him to storm her Normandy beach. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And boy did he.
And
boy did he breach that defense.
Boy did he.
Anyways, yeah, that part was it was funny too.
Yeah,
I was
it was
just
funny.
like, wow, I didn't
Damn.
expect to see it. I don't know if old people say fuck me, but it was funny. And maybe they do.
Say
But
fornicate.
either way, it was just like I just was like, this lady's finally getting her nut in the movie.
Mhm.
Right? Good for her.
Him too. He was doing
Yeah.
great. He did a great job.
But it is then pretty sad that he doesn't die of a heart attack
Not
yet.
there. Not
And then
there.
gets scared a little bit and is like, oh,
He was like, oh, TV too loud. TV too loud.
oh, that was pretty fucking funny.
That was really
It's a
funny.
little bit mean, but it was pretty funny.
It was pretty sad too. She's like, Oh no. Oh no.
Maybe some parts we should have brought up in the non-spoiler part, but I think it's fine.
I want to bring up something really quick, kind of related to what we've been talking about, but it's kind of on the other side of that discussion. Is there are some parts that I feel like them being old is part of the scare a little bit. Like there's a part where Mia Goth is filming her scene in the porno in the smut film, and she's like on top of the male actor, and they're fucking right, and you see Mia Goth and she's like riding him, and she's like she's going to town, right, and then like it shows it in slow motion, and it shows like the old woman like staring at her from the window. Creepy framing, I like that. Yeah. But also then it shows this weird scene where it shows the old lady like doing doing what Mia Goth is doing, and it's disturbing to look at. And I think that it is meant to be like her skin. It could just be like, that's not Mia Goth, and maybe that's why it's like.
No, I think you're right. Freaky. I think it's just like it's unsettling to see a old woman in that situation. Saggy
skin.
Right.
And it's not, and it's not scary to look at.
And I feel like that's totally fine. Like, yeah, is that maybe, and I think that's another one of those good moments of like, is that inherently scary? No, but I think it is a good kind of gut check to understand your reaction to that.
That's true.
Because I agree. It's like, you don't expect to see old people fucking. That's just not a thing that we talk about.
Right.
We don't, and I feel like, maybe that's where I'm saying like maybe I'm giving Ty West too much credit, and maybe I just felt that the movie was okay, and maybe he was just like, isn't that gross and creepy? Hell yeah, maybe. But I didn't think that. Yeah. I felt like, yes, some of it is there for that shock value, especially the sex, like the sex scene on the bed. I was like, okay, like this is definitely him being like, all right, full tilt, we're going for it. Like, and I thought it worked really well, but.
Hey kid, how about you focus on shooting the movie and you let me do the fucking?
Is that what Kid Cudi says?
Yeah, I think so. It's so funny.
It's also really fucking funny that Kid Cudi's in this movie. Okay, so some other key moments I want to bring up. Jenna Ortega is the movement. She is she's like good.
the nerdy boy's girlfriend. Okay, yeah, I liked her.
She is her scream in the basement. Is
so good.
Amazing.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Wow. And her like pause too is fucking great.
And it's scary. It like that's like a haunting moment.
Curdling scream.
Wow, that's like one of my favorite genuine scared reactions since Hereditary.
Yeah, it was. I actually do agree. Her performance is really good, and also the framing of the movie really gets up close into the practical effects and the scares. Yeah, and I really like that.
I love it. I thought the gore in this movie was so well done.
Really fucking good.
Like effectively used in the times where it was like appropriate to go over the top, and then just pulled back enough when it needed to be. Like the part where she's stabbing the kid in the neck. I was like,
god, man. Dude. Yeah, that's a great moment.
When she breaks his trachea out to the side.
Yeah, and just brutal. Like the kid actor too is doing a really good job in this part. Like his wheezing and like his like pleas and like just how
that's the picture that's on that shirt that says choking on a pool of blood in the back of your own throat.
That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like his pleading and just also the noise, the sound mix there is really fucking good.
Very scary.
Because you can just hear the knife just slipping through that flesh, and it's just gnarly, and there's blood everywhere, and he's wheezing.
Yeah.
And he's obviously in pain, and he cannot move. And like her reaction to it also, like she's getting more like she's like excited by it. Not even like horny, she's just fucking like angry, and she's getting it out.
See, it's funny you say that because right after the movie we were talking about that, and they were like, was she getting off at that part? And Josue was like, well, she was coming when she was stabbing him. She was coming when, and I was like, Josue, whoa, what are you using that word like that for? Like nothing. That's a rated R word.
I can't even imagine him saying that.
It was mostly just so fucking funny, just like from the gate. I was like, she was what? But what did you think of the moment? What did you think of the? Okay, I kind of want to talk about like the porn side of things in this movie.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like I really loved how all that's handled.
Yeah.
None of them are like painted in a bad light.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's really like it's really healthy, I would say, for the most part. Like their relationships to each other, and like they all like especially like considering the time the period this movie takes place. It would have been very easy for Mia Goth's boyfriend character to be kind of like a dirtbag.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's not.
No, he's I can't really pick a part of his character where I'm like, yeah, he's like a gross bad person for that.
No. And it's like he's really supportive, and like I really like even too there's a part like I didn't expect the sex scene with Mia Goth was gonna be with Mia Goth and Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Yeah, like what's the big deal there?
Yeah, like,
Just
on camera. It's no big deal.
And I love that scene when they're talking about that, and Jenna Ortega is like, isn't that like weird? Like, isn't that hard to do? Like, what about love and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And then her boyfriend's like, it's a movie. It's not real life. And she's like, yeah, I fucking know that.
Yeah, I know. I like that part too.
And then when she's like, well, I want to do a scene in the movie.
And he's like,
I loved that.
Yeah, that was a good part. I like that.
That whole thing was so, I don't know how to explain why that was just so like good to me. It was like, that was just like such a really interesting framing of like a really interesting way to just kind of explore a topic like that, like monogamy, I guess, in general. Mm-hmm. And the way it's like explored was just really fucking clever. And I just thought it was so funny. And then it's also really funny just the way it's framed, like when she's in her panties and whatever, and she like takes off her fucking her cross necklace. I was like, okay, that's pretty funny.
I like too that I really like too, because I think there's two, we've seen that sort of trope in movies before, where we kind of get the reaction in this movie from her boyfriend, who's like, no, this is my movie, and no, you can't be in it because I don't want you to be. But also, I really like how typically I feel like in that situation, on the total other side of that, the actors would be like, why don't you just let her do it and like egg her on and like you should do it. It's gonna be cool. I really like how in this movie most of the reaction was like, are you sure you want to do that?
Right, like if that's what you want to do,
we can get that set up if you're interested in doing it. It works this way. And then I also really like too how like when the guy went out there and talked to him, he was like, "You're being a pussy, man." He's just like, you first off, you can't tell her what to do.
Yeah, well, I like that he's like, she's not like the other girls, and he's like, the fuck do you mean by that?
I know,
I love that.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. And he's like, you didn't mean it like that though.
Yeah.
He's basically saying like, well, she's not a slut.
Yeah.
And I love that he's like, what do you mean by that? I don't know. I thought it was like one of the healthier, and like, yeah, obviously then there was like a lot of sex, and I don't know how to feel, and it's not necessarily my place. Like, okay, is it still too male gazy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, perhaps, but we do see some brain, which I was glad to see.
We see a little bit of brain. We
see two. One is not, I was not glad to see. The other one was hilarious.
I don't remember if I saw the other one.
Well, we see Kid Cudi.
Yeah, I saw him.
His fake one.
Mm-hmm.
That was another really funny conversation where they were like, Mamie was like, do you think that was fake? I was like, absolutely. And then we were just laughing. I was like, shit was hanging to his knees. Absolutely, it was fake. Like, that part was really funny.
What was the other one? Because I don't think I saw the other one.
The guy in the basement.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I do remember that.
Also, I wanted to bring that up because he's bruised.
I also noticed that.
Yeah. So
that's
he
scary.
had been like a sex slave, I'm assuming.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It makes that whole thing with Pearl very scary.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
Damn.
Terrifying.
I didn't even connect that. That's some good environmental storytelling.
Just
right
very
there.
Subtle. That's why I was like, maybe we missed more of that at the beginning. But the fact that we didn't, I love that.
That's some good subtle storytelling right there.
Exactly.
It's right out of a FromSoft game.
Yeah, exactly.
Read the item description on that, huh?
Jumping around here too, the part where Jenna Ortega gets her fingers smashed.
Oh,
wow! What a great scene.
Yeah, that was a good part. Scary, visceral.
Yeah, Brittany Snow is really fucking good.
I really like the part when you just said her name. That's the blonde girl, right?
Brittany Snow, yeah.
Yeah, Brittany Snow. She's like goes after Pearl, and they meet at the pier. And
I was in the bathroom for this part.
Oh, you were?
Well, I came back and she was like, "Bitch!" And then I saw her getting eaten by an alligator.
She's being really sweet to her at first. She's like, "I used to work with my grandma. So I'm pretty good at this." And she's like, "Let's get you inside. It's cold out here." And then Pearl, I think, slaps her. Like just slaps her across the face. She's like, "Why did you do that?" And she's like, "I don't need a fucking nurse." All right. And then she's being really mean to her. And then, oh my God. Her name
Brittany Snow.
Brittany Snow is like, all right, fine. Well, fuck you then, old lady, you bag of bones. And then she just pushes her into the river. And then the old man's like, was that her? And he was like, no. And then he says something like, well, why don't you like her? And she's like, I don't like bones.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
the whole alligator stuff was really fucking scary.
Yeah, especially that part where I really like too when the old man comes out, Kid Cudi's like, hey, you need some help?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I'm a Marine.
Yeah, it's fucking sad that it ends the way it does, but I love that he was like, even though this guy's an asshole, Kid Cudi's still like, I'll be fine.
He's a fucking old man.
He's a nice fucking guy. Yeah, but I love that part too. He's like, let me put on my skivvies. He puts on like a tank top and some boots and just trudges around the swamp. And I totally thought that's where the gator shit was gonna come in, but it didn't, which I really liked.
But yeah, so then that's pretty much it for the movie. I don't feel like we need the only things I didn't like, I didn't understand okay, two more things really fast. I didn't understand the need for the plot twist being that Mia Goth's character was the preacher's daughter.
I was also confused. Well, so is that Pearl?
No, Pearl, that was Mia Goth, I'm pretty sure.
But she has that shit on her face.
But so does Mia Goth, no?
No. Mia Goth doesn't have that thing.
Well, you know that Mia Goth plays the old lady.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was.
Right, okay.
I don't know. I didn't. Oh, well, I guess I could see that if like maybe that's why her behavior is the way it is. That she was saying
that. She was saying the thing about like, I won't accept a life that I don't deserve. And then that's what the preacher said on TV.
Oh, okay.
It was like a cool little like, oh, okay. I didn't know if I was like missing a reason for that, but I was like, whatever, I guess. Yeah. And then I didn't love that she was doing coke, and I didn't love when she was driving away and she was like, thank the Lord. Those were the only two moments that I was like, that was weird. But I really like the ending scene where he's like, one goddamn fucked up horror picture.
Yeah, that's
I really liked that part. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Chelsea Wolfe does the music for this movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
That is really cool. So, damn.
Yeah, just wanted to shout
I didn't know
out.
that. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Pearl looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to see that.
I'm stoked for that.
That is some daytime gore horror right there, and I am fucking excited.
And I'm so glad that we didn't actually spoil the movie for ourselves, because I went into it being like, Mia Goth's the old lady, and I guess that she's gonna be like a witch or something.
Nope.
And then while it was happening, I was like, I don't even understand what the fuck that plot twist could be.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was really glad that, like, yeah, we kind of spoiled it for ourselves, but not really.
Yeah. Mia Goth, by the way.
She does great.
She was wonderful. She was really
all of them,
really
honestly. It was
everybody was great, but
this was a classic A24 non-dud. Like this is this was like a solid like addition to the A20. I will be buying it. I'd throw up a poster of X somewhere. I'd get an X shirt.
I'd put this and fuck is wrong with me? That movie with the really religious girl,
Saint Maud.
Saint Maud. I put this movie and Saint Maud in like the same tier.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like I think it's like just behind Saint Maud for me on my A24 ranked list.
Yeah, I feel like they're pretty dead even for me. I gotta think on that. But yeah, I'd put those movies in the same tier.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much. I don't know. I liked it. That's all I can really say. I think it had one thing that you can't deny about it is it just had some crazy fucking sex scenes that fucking old people the old people fucking with Mia Goth under the bed is definitely like a moment of a movie in my head that I'll never forget.
That's a good one. And shit, I can't believe I didn't bring that up before, but yeah, the part in the basement is really, really good.
Yeah,
I love that part.
Fucking scary.
Yeah, good part.
But speaking of old people having sex on a bed,
speaking of them,
that reminds me, this isn't the only movie to have iconic, disturbing, memorable sex scenes in a horror movie.
In fact, it's a pretty common trope.
Exactly. Sex in horror movies is like fucking bread on butter.
Sex in horror movies is like Sex in the City.
It is. I'm trying to think of another. It's like biscuits and fucking gravy, if you ask me. And I got to do my Duolingo before I lose my 37-day streak. But
you said it.
That leads us into the final topic of the show, folks.
Way bien.
The top 5. He's number 5, and he's on top. I can't remember what my...
You said he's on top. Yeah, he's number 5.
Something like that. So, this week, we will be doing the top 5 most memorable sex scenes in movies. Horror movies.
As if you're a sports star, you know what your jersey number would be?
What's that?
It'd be 5.
Would it?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I thought you were going to say it'd be 0 because I lost 2 in a row or something. I thought you were going to say it'd be like 0-2.
We could go with that too.
All right, we're going to do the top 5 most memorable sex scenes in horror movies, folks.
Top 5, we are live.
Jake, you won last week. Who's going first?
You know what? I'm going to have you start us off, Isaac.
All right, here we go.
See what I'm working with here. See what chops you got on you. Number
5. I'm putting this one at number 5 because you may give me a little pushback on whether or not this counts as a horror movie.
Might shove you.
Might be like, overall, I would say the movie's probably more of a thriller.
Okay.
But it has horror elements, and this scene specifically.
Cheating on number 5 already. All right.
Number 5, I'm going with... Oh, man, what's her name? Neil Patrick Harris getting his throat sliced in Gone Girl. What
Yeah,
is
it's
what
okay.
is her name? I keep wanting to say Rose McGowan, and I know it's not Rose McGowan.
God.
Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I gotta look it up. Gone Girl. All right, Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike, Neil Patrick Harris.
Rosamund Pike, Neil Patrick Harris sex scene in Gone Girl, and she schloishes him up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Folks,
Yeah, she is.
iconic. Extremely scary editing.
Mm-hmm. Good music in
The
that scene.
music is building and swelling in a very scary way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty unforgettable moment.
Very tense. Thrilling even.
And it's definitely one of those. It's just one of those haunting moments in a movie where when the scene plays out the way that it does, and you as the audience have the context, but you see what she's doing,
Mm-hmm.
like with the cameras in the house and what she's portraying it as. It's just one of those like impossibly like scary situations where you're just like, but that's not. And it's also made more complicated by the fact that Neil Patrick Harris's character is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Great scene. Maybe you might give me the no, that's a horror movie. Okay, I'll accept that argument, but that's why I put it at number 5. Gone Girl.
No, that's cool. You can cheat. So I guess moving on to my number 5.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Winter Boy. Apparently, you got all the answers. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Everything's like, that was sex, but Jake knows about a sex movie.
Yeah. You're going to get mad at me for this one.
Oh, God.
Not because I'm cheating, but because you're going to be like, you fucker. You're going to use this movie? And I'm going to say, yeah, I haven't seen this movie,
Ooh.
but I have seen the sex scenes in this movie. And I would describe them as maybe not iconic, but certainly memorable, Isaac.
Sure.
My number 5 is between Willem Dafoe and Charlotte Gainsbourg in Antichrist.
Antichrist and twisting.
Now, there's 2 sex scenes in this movie. Actually, there's a couple things that could be described as sex scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
But what I'm specifically referencing is the opening scene of the movie where we see Willem Dafoe dong.
You see fucking
Black
twigs and
white.
berries.
Twigs, berries, the works.
You see the whole fucking
Penetration.
Denver omelet.
You see the... You said it. You said it. Black and white, slow motion, all sorts of jiggly bits jiggling about.
Yes, indeed.
When Willem Dafoe is going to town, when Charlotte Gainsbourg is taking what she needs,
Jesus Christ.
their little toddy,
He does.
their little boy stumbles out the window.
Yeah, fucking horrible scene.
Terrible, horrible, disturbing nightmare.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my number 5. I think it's very, very strong,
Yeah.
but I kind of hate thinking about it. So
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Lars von Trier is
he's a fucking sicko.
he's a
isn't he?
fucking sicko for that one. He needs prison time. But you're right. It is memorable, and that's why it's my number 4.
Whoa!
Antichrist is my number 4 spot. You brought up the black and white D and B's going into the P's and the T's and all that, right? You brought that up. So since you brought that up, I'll bring up the more infamous scene in the movie. There's a scene in the latter half of the movie, and folks, if you're listening to this episode with kids in the car, you might want to plug the old ears.
Now you should do it.
Now you should plug the ears. There's a scene at the end of the... First of all, Antichrist is not for everyone. I would seldom recommend Antichrist to just about anybody. Callista watched that movie with me, which is a feat in and of itself that I'm surprised she wasn't like, I'm leaving right now.
I think I would hate that movie if I watched it.
I like that movie, but it is fucking
I like
terrible.
the Chaos Reigns part.
Oh my God, that part is so scary.
Mhm.
There's a couple really bad body mutilation parts. It doesn't matter. There's a scene in the latter half of the movie where Charlotte Gaines has knocked Willem Dafoe unconscious. He is being stimulated manually, mano y mano, if you must, right? She's
driving stick shift, is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. She then
She's in 6th gear.
and then, speaking of wood, she grabs a log and she goes ahead and stubs that thing. She stubs that nub.
Bonk. She bonks it.
And then he passes back out. She then finishes the job to nothing but blood. And it's horrible, folks. It's horrible. And who said we didn't say these scenes were going to be fun. But Antichrist, Jake took the black and white one. I was going to go with something a little less extreme, but I had to bring it back. And yeah.
See, I thought you were going to bring up a different one.
The scissor scene.
Oh, that's not a sex scene.
That's what I was going to say. That doesn't really count.
No, I thought you were going to bring up the tree sex scene.
Oh, I forgot about that.
She grabs his ass.
She's grabbing his ace.
She grabs a fucking slice of that cake.
Yeah, I guess I could have. That one's a little less extreme and horrible. I'm just doing Antichrist in general. I'm also going the black and white scene, but I just had to bring up that scene. So number 4 for me is also Antichrist. Very memorable.
Yeah.
Like, we did want to point out here, we toyed around with what exactly this topic means, because we were coming into so many, we were like, iconic? No. We definitely don't mean sexiest. That's not what we're going for here. So memorable is the criteria here, folks. Memorable.
Thanks for explaining that, Isaac.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's an important disclaimer.
So that's my number 4. What do you got at number 4?
Well, I think it's important that we explain that, because my number 4 is memorable.
Let's hear it.
It's quite disturbing.
Quite disturbing.
It's from a little movie you may have seen, starring Florence Pugh and Jack Rayner. Midsummer.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It really needs no introduction. It involves a barn.
It's a barn burner. Ooh. I should get points for that one.
Because it's on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack Rayner's character is drugged and seduced into a barn and is pulled into a sexual encounter.
To impregnate a woman. Surrounded by this group of women who are moaning with her as they're having sex. It's stimulating the sex.
Yeah, and the 1-year-old's what's that thing that BYU kids do? Jumping,
soakers and jumpers. Yeah. She's jumping.
She's manually jumping.
Yeah, she's jumping.
She's manually jumping.
She's giving him a jump start. Yeah,
giving him a jump start, and just the visuals of the scene are just so disturbing.
Yes.
The situation itself is very disturbing, and it's just very memorable, I'd say. It is it's haunting, it's scary. Jack Rayner full frontal nude on that one.
Yeah, he does.
Damn.
Going for it, dude.
God damn.
Commend the guy.
But yeah, that's my number 4, Midsummer.
Number 4, Midsummer. Okay, number 3 for me.
Number 4, you mean? No, number 3.
My number 4 was Antichrist. Yeah, number 4 for me. Or not, sorry. Now you got me all fucked up. Number 3. Number 3 for me. A little movie I like to call American Psycho. I'm going Patrick Bateman flexing his muscles in the mirror while he's watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre and having sex with some sex workers. Leads to some horrific things, but an absolutely iconic moment in horror.
Iconic.
I would say that almost exceeds the sex scene expectation and is just an iconic horror moment itself. And you might be thinking, well, why is it only a number 3? I've got a feeling it's this kid's number 201 over here. But it just is.
You don't know my list.
It is just. It leads to a then very intense, scary scene where Christian Bale is butt ass naked, running with his fucking chainsaw. I think he's got Nikes on too.
I think he's just wearing white socks.
That's even scarier.
Yeah.
Chasing this poor girl out of his apartment and throws a chainsaw down at her down the stairwell. Very scary movie. Very scary scene. But very iconic.
Very iconic, Isaac.
Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Patrick Bateman in American Psycho is your number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
That's a good one right there. Trying to decide if my next one should be 2 or 3.
Around. Go for it, dude.
I'm going to say number 3 is a bit... I was going to make a joke. I shouldn't make that joke.
Okay.
I'm going to say it so I can explain what it is, actually. I was going to say it's a little bestial. But because my number 3 is from a little Francis Ford Coppola
flick.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Bram Stoker's Strokula.
Strokula. Yeah, I'll say.
Freudian slip.
There's a moment in this movie.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where the beasts are calling. There's a man wolf out there, and it's mating season. I'll tell you that much.
Please.
And and there's a woman who's ready for that wolf. She wants the dog.
She is under a spell.
She's under a spell.
Yeah.
Is that what she is?
She's hypnotized, basically. Trust me, I wrote a whole essay and got quite a fucking earful about why this moment is actually horrible.
I thought she was attracted to the man wolf.
Well, she's attracted to Dracula's. He
Are we talking about the same
he's
scene?
hypnotized her. Yeah, when he's the man beast and they're in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the scene I was talking
Yeah,
about.
it is iconic though. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Werewolf sex.
Werewolf sex, and he's fucking scary looking too.
Yeah, he's not pretty. I'll tell you that much.
Oh God, that's a great movie too.
I know, it's a very good movie.
All right, that's number 3.
It's number 3.
Okay, number 2 for me. All right, number 2 for me. A pinnacle, a staple, if you will, of the genre of the sex in horror films at large.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Halloween, 1976, I want to say, maybe 78, something like that, the late 70s. OG Halloween, Laurie's friends having sex in the bedroom.
More like a 7 out of 8.
Out of 8, that's a pretty good score actually.
More like a 7, maybe an 8.
They're having sex, then they, me and Cliff have talked about this trope a lot. I really hate in movies when people have sex and they're like done and then they're like, oh, and then they just roll over.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, just a mess everywhere.
You sleeping then?
Just not gonna even get it. And they're just like putting the blankets. I'm like,
You're ruining those sheets.
Yuck. So that's one of those moments, right? And then she's like, go get me a beer. And then he leaves the room to get her a beer. Michael gets his ace and then comes back with the ghost sheet on. But she thinks it's her BF playing around wearing a little ghost sheet. Iconic. One of just the most simple premises, works so well, leads to one of the most iconic shots in all of horror with Michael and the ghost sheet. And it kind of speaks to that, like, sex as a sin in like the really early 70s to 80s era of horror films, and just kind of like the Reagan era. If you're having sex, you're going to be hunted by a serial killer kind of trope. And I think that's why it's so iconic. So the Halloween sex scene.
That is a good one.
That's my number 2.
I like that one.
What do you got at number 2?
Number 2 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go.
Drop a deuce for me.
I'm going to go with another werewolf flick.
Ooh.
This one is in London.
Ooh.
An American Werewolf in London, everybody. Our main character meets a nurse in the movie. Great fucking chemistry between these two people, I'll say. She's like, I don't normally do this. You want to stay at my place for a little while? I think that's a HIPAA violation, but let's not worry about it.
Right.
So he goes there. They obviously really like each other. There's some changes happening to, I think his name's Jack.
Something like that.
He's seeing his best friend who was mauled earlier in the movie, and he's talking to him saying, like, you need to kill yourself because you are going to become a werewolf man and kill people.
Great fucking
So
movie.
you need to kill yourself now. So that's already really scary. But these two. Now, see, this one it stands out from the rest because it's memorable, not for a disturbing or gross or bad reason. This one's memorable because this shit's sexy.
It's just steamy.
That's a great descriptor, Isaac, because they do it in the shower.
Whoa.
And it's romantic. It's slow.
It's sweet.
These characters have
have
had sexual tension since they first started talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's slow. And it's sweet. It's really nice, and it makes the later events in the movie even more sad.
Yeah,
dreadful even. I would say that's my number 2 moment.
That's a good one. Yeah. That is a good one. All right. Do you have any honorable mentions before we move on to number 1? Because I do have 2. If you don't have one, that's fine.
Friday the 13th, the original one.
Okay, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Okay, my honorable mentions go to Teeth.
Never seen it.
Never seen it either. That's why I put it in the honorable mentions. But I know there's some fucked up sex scenes in that movie.
Definitely.
That's the one where the girl gets the vampire teeth in her vagina.
Yes. Are they vampire teeth? I thought it was just teeth. Sharp teeth.
I guess it could just be sharp teeth. It's monster teeth. She got monster teeth.
You're projecting your vampire hate real hard.
Really hard. I'm really showing my cards here. My other honorable mention. My other honorable mention goes to It Follows the movie. I couldn't put it on the list because is there any actual iconic sex scenes in the movie? I feel like it's a movie about sex.
The movie's about sex, but I wouldn't say there's an
can't
iconic.
Think of any.
I feel like it kind of does the opposite of that.
Right. There's almost no sex scenes.
Well, there is kind of a part that's a little. It's the part where that bad boy, the leather-clad fellow, and it's when like the main girl's like in the hospital.
Oh, right.
That one's. I guess that's kind of memorable.
Yeah, there's a couple
Well,
moments.
I guess I don't really remember it that well. So.
Yeah, so I don't know. But it follows itself as a movie. I feel like it can't not be mentioned in the conversation about horror and sex. It's gotta be. So It Follows gets the other honorable mention from me. You mentioned Friday the 13th, which leads us into my number one, folks.
What is it?
My number one, most memorable, mind you, sex scene in a horror film.
Most memorable, you say?
Most memorable. Maybe, quite possibly could be one of the first sex scenes I had ever seen in a movie, period.
Wow.
Which maybe makes it so memorable for me. Number one, I'm going Freddy versus Jason, bed sandwiched in half, post-sex. Beginning of the movie,
Okay.
the guy and the girl goes upstairs. He's a fucking asshole. He's like, come upstairs. She says something. He says, don't make me ask you twice. Remember that part? Fucking asshole. Piece of shit. They go upstairs, have some ridiculous 2004 sex, which I always think is such a funny thing in movies, too, where I'm like, people just be fucking loud in front of their friends in the house.
Door open. Door
like,
wide
door
open.
powers off. They're not even watching TV, and they're just listening.
You gotta let your boys know.
Yeah, but it's mostly the girlfriends that are there.
And you gotta let her friends know. She's gotta let her friends know.
Yeah, I hate that. Anyways, she goes. They finish. She's like, "Oh, give me a fucking beer." Same thing again, right? She's like, "Fuck you." She goes and takes a shower.
They don't seem to like each other very much.
No, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. They kind of fucking hate each other. She goes into the shower. Lightning flashes. Boom. There's Jason Voorhees standing in the corner. Boyfriend leans over to grab a brewski off the nightstand. Jason spears him in the back through the bed and then grabs both sides of the bed and just folds him. And he's on his stomach, so he folds backwards.
Oof.
An iconic kill in an iconic movie. Possibly one of the first, whenever that movie, easily one of the first sex scenes I ever saw as a child.
Damn.
God, I remember that. I remember being like, there's some boobs in this movie.
Oh, okay.
So-
Leaning into the kill a bit there, but
Yeah, but
okay,
the
all
scene
right.
is scene is pretty memorable.
okay. Yeah, the scene is memorable, isn't it? That's a memorable scene for sure.
Yeah, right around and it's
That's a
sex-related.
memorable post-sex scene. You're right.
And the sex scene is important context to that kill. Yes. So
Yeah.
number one for me, Freddy versus Jason.
All right. I'm gonna give another honorable mention.
All right.
It's Friday the 13th, the remake in 2009.
Oh, your tits are. Your tits are stupendous. God, that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a good one. Almost made it
Hilarious.
on the list, but I was like, yeah, there's better ones.
It is really fucking funny though.
It's very funny.
He's that. What else is he?
It's just fucking ridiculous. It's
Your
so
tits are stupendous. I'm pretty sure he says stupendous.
something fucking
Spectacular, hilarious.
stupid. So my number one. Let me just bring it in this way. Are you looking up that line?
Yeah, I think I gotta look that up really fast.
Okay, I'm gonna let you look it up because I'm gonna come in hot with a zinger for mine. So I'll let you do.
2009.
I'll let you do your thing.
Then look up just 2009. Is that movie 2009?
Yeah.
Okay. Oops. 13th, 2009. I guess that's not going to be on YouTube.
Yeah. They can
Yeah.
put that on there.
I guess I can't just look up sex scene on YouTube and expect to find what I'm looking for.
Probably find it on a porn site. That's where I had to watch the Antichrist scene. It was on a porn site.
Yeah, I don't really feel like going to look for that right now. Well, he says your tits are stupendous, something like that.
Oh, so you're
It's an honorable mention. What do you want me to do?
Shaming porn users.
I am.
Don't just stare at it, eat it. Number one is American Psycho because it's got everything, Isaac.
Sure.
Patrick Bateman has a threesome with two ladies.
Uh-huh.
He's looking in the mirror. There's some outrageous music playing. He's looking at himself in the mirror, flexing
He's
his
fucking
big old
looking
bicep.
good, too.
He's looking great. I can't fucking blame the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be flexing.
And it just dissolves into fucking horror.
Mm-hmm.
Because it starts with where the girl gets up and like takes a break, or because Patrick's acting weird or something. So you just see the sheets are going a little bit wild. You still hear one of the girls moaning, but then suddenly you just see blood start staining the sheets, and she's like just starts screaming, and you're like, "What the fuck is he doing?" He's like eating her or some shit.
Doing something scary.
Yeah, he's like biting the shit out of her or something, but he kills her, and then the other girl runs out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You get the fuck back here!" So he runs out there in his bare socks, and suddenly we're in this absolute nightmare. Yeah, surrealist horror scene. She's being chased down the halls. There's nobody in all of these apartments.
No one is helping her. Yeah.
Nobody is helping her. She is avoiding him, luckily, but he got a chainsaw from somewhere, fully nude, running after this woman full speed. He's a tiger in the jungle, and he's hunting his prey.
Scary, yeah.
It's very scary. And it ends with just ridiculousness. She's running down the stairwell, and he's aiming the chainsaw real careful. Drops it.
Boom.
Boom. Right on the money. It's got everything you need. It's hilarious. It's scary. And it's my number one.
Number one. What did I fucking say, folks? Did I call? Boy, did I call it.
You call it because it's a good scene. It's a good, memorable scene.
Let's see. I guess I can fast forward to just breathing.
A lot of breathing here.
That's a chainsaw.
Oh, this is American Psycho.
Yeah. It's a lot more breathing again.
You ever listen to Huey Lewis in the news?
Sounds like a fucking haunted house.
It does. Also, that chainsaw's loud.
That is scary.
I know it's scary. Yeah, you're watching it like, damn, this should be my number one.
No, that's good though. It's on my list, so I'm fine with it.
God damn, sounds like my ear is right up in a fucking car exhaust. Great movie.
Very scary scene.
Very scary.
A respectable number one, if you will.
Well, it's no kill from a Friday the 13th movie, but
well, it's Freddy versus Jason.
It is a pretty memorable sex scene.
Freddy versus Jason.
It is a pretty memorable sex scene.
It's interesting how yours also ended in a kill.
It is weird because that's directly involved in the sex scene.
I would agree.
We don't have to include the kill. Let's just call it the sex.
Let's call it the flex. Whoa, there we go. Good list.
Got a flex for you.
I think I can hold my own on you this week, Jake.
We'll see.
If I lose again on this one, here's the thing, folks. I'm gonna need some more explanation. Right? We got what? How many we got similar? Just two. Just the American Psycho and just the
American Psycho,
Antichrist.
And Antichrist.
Also, I'm not telling people how to do it. If you want to vote on the strength of the whole thing, that's fine.
My mom also texted me, and I got to vote just before the episode started.
Yeah, tell her don't count.
That's not a joke, and it does count because she gave a reason.
What'd she say? Okay,
because The Hangover is really funny.
I had The Hangover on my list,
but mine was number one. She said Hangover at number one. That's why I got it. And I told her beforehand she has to be honest. And she was, all right? So what's that, 10?
Shout out Melanie. I think it was 8, first of all. I think it was 8 to 4.
Let's round up. We can round up for you, too. 10,
5 to 10. All right, fair enough. So anyways, folks, when you're voting this week, consider what's more memorable to you. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do a 1v1. That's usually how I pick them. 5 versus 5, 4 versus 4, 3 versus 3, and so on. But you can also vote on the strength of the whole list if you want. You can vote however the hell you damn well please. Mm-hmm. Just
Isaac's
as long
suddenly
as you vote.
A big advocate for mail-in voting. Yeah. Weird.
Please, folks. I can't keep losing like this. So, thank you for listening, though. Don't forget to vote this week. You can follow me on Letterboxd, Twitter, wherever at Isaac Rahman.
I got one more thing to say.
Oh, let's hear it.
Listen,
and then tell us where we can find you.
I know we got more than 10 fucking people listening.
That's
all
true.
Right?
That's true.
Please
I have the numbers to back it up.
Please vote.
Yeah.
Please vote. Come on. You know, if your thing is you don't want to, I might embarrass myself. What if they don't bring it up? I promise you will bring it up.
Also, you can text us personally.
You can text us personally.
DM the podcast if you really don't want to post it. I get it. I get it, folks. Right? I get it.
But listen, I know you listen.
Come on.
It's fun.
It's for the funs. It's for the laughs. It's for the giggles.
And yeah, listen. If you want your name shouted on, you want to shout it off. Just say, "Hey, don't say my name, but this is a vote for you." That's fine.
Exactly.
But that's half the fun. Also, I like that. Saying my thank yous and whatnot.
So thank you to Jake.
All under my reign. Thank you. Anybody who voted for Isaac, let's just say you're gonna have to be working a couple more hours.
Where can people find you, Jake?
At Moon Sent It anywhere.
You can follow the podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Monolith Pod. Subscribe to the Patreon on Monolith Podcast for only $5 a month. The music is by Cassette Drift. Find the podcast on any podcast app you would like. And as always, folks, thank you for listening, and
I'm off the ball, dude.
Bound chicka bound.